Here at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, the Chiefs have won the coin toss. Closed captioning for tonight's game provided by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico or visit geico.com. John Lynch, Chris Myers, let's go down on the field before we get things going between KC and Tampa Bay. Check in with Dan Lucas. Dan?
Hi, Chris. Well, one difference from last week, no rain. And we have grass, no baseball dirt to deal with. That is something that really affected Gerald McCoy last week. He wouldn't say that, but he did admit, guys, I was just nervous, flat out nervous for my first game. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to come out of the gate tonight, Chris.
Thanks, Dan. And Raheem Morris, hoping that this team today, at least on this kind of playing surface, will be a little bit less hesitant about moving in and around some of those dirt spots on the field down in Miami. Raheem Morris, of course, his second year for Kansas City. Todd Haley, longtime assistant in the league, second year as a head coach. The Chiefs won 4 games last year. It's his coordinators that people talk about, and Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel.
Yeah, they're putting the band back together. I mean, all these guys were together. We talked to Scott Pioli, the new GM in Kansas City, and he talked about all these guys being together way back to the New York Jets before the Patriots. They feel like they have their staff intact, in place, and that this is going to be a much better year for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Connor Barth, the former Kansas City Chief kicker, who is the man for the Bucs when it comes to kicking field goals and kicking off, getting ready to boot to Javier Arenas from Port Tampa near MacDill Air Force Base, went to Robinson High. That's the Knights, and a great history as a return player in high school as a senior. 7 touchdowns, 4 on punt returns, 3 on kicks, but that was high school. Now he comes here as a pro, facing the team he grew up watching. And game 2 of 2010 in the preseason underway. It is Arenas who downs it. And the Chiefs will take over on the 20-yard line. We're going to look at the Kansas City offense behind Matt Castle, who did not start in college, but when stepping in for the injured Tom Brady in New England starred. So a major deal made as he came to Kansas City, and last year attempted almost 500 passes, physically held up, didn't have a lot around it.
I think the offensive line for Kansas City is the big question mark. They need to do a better job of protecting Matt Castle.
And we'll look at the starting lineups in a moment, so that might be good news for the Bucs defensive line. And Thomas Jones in the backfield, the one-time Buccaneer. Everywhere he's been successful. Jones in motion. Castle, quick pass, a little bit behind, but hauled in by Chris Chambers, who played in only 9 games but led the Chiefs in receiving yards last year. And let's take a look at the Nissan starting lineup for the visiting Chiefs. Castile, the fullback, for Jones and Castle. Wayne Bowe, the #1 pick out of LSU. Leonard Pope in at tight end, but being pushed for the starting job there, and that offensive line that John Lynch just spoke about. Enough for a first down, as Jones remains in the backfield after a 13-yard pickup on the last pass play. Again, Castle to throw. Incomplete. Intended for Bowe. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10, and Aqib Talib, who did not play last week, on the play covering. And our Nissan starting lineup for the Buccaneers defense. And we will see on 3rd down, Brian Price. You see McCoy, John keeping a close eye there. Geno Hayes, Quincy Black having excellent training camps. And in the secondary, Sean Jones trying to nail down the safety spot. We'll also see Myron Lewis, the rookie from Vanderbilt, later in the secondary, who did not play in the preseason opener. 2nd down, 10. First running play of the game, and that's Thomas Jones. Ball comes out at the end, fumbled across the 40. And the Buccaneers have it. Thomas Jones carrying as Geno Hayes recovered the fumble.
And Thomas Jones, usually a very sure-handed player, goes for the run, and it's Kyle Moore, I believe, that strips the ball. Tanar Jackson and Kyle Moore combined for the tackle, but it's Kyle Moore's right hand that gets in there and strips the ball from Thomas Jones. And Geno Hayes on the spot to make the big play. And if you're looking for something, there were no turnovers last week by this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. You got to create the turnovers. Raheem Morris came out. That was actually a little 3-4 they threw at him right away. Good job by the Buccaneers.
So on first down from the 41 of Kansas City, Josh Freeman with a handoff to Cadillac Williams, who is knocked down maybe after a yard or two. And Cadillac, coming off 2 knee surgeries, picks up a couple. And our Nissan starting lineup for the Bucs, Josh Freeman from Grandview, Kansas. That's nearby Kansas City. Ernest Graham, the fullback. We'll watch that wide receiver position, and Mike Williams entertaining. As at the tight end, Kellen Winslow will sit this one out, and the offensive line will watch that left guard battle that John talked about in the open. So 2 wide receivers on the left side, 2 tight ends in, and Cadillac, your running back. Josh Freeman to throw, and completes to his tight end, Jeremy Stevens. Stevens felt bad about the offside penalty last week when they were in the red zone. 5-yard pickup, and our starting lineup brought to you by Nissan, the Kansas City defense. Glenn Dorsey, former #1 draft pick. Tom Ali, also a former #1. The veteran Mike Vrabel from the linebacker spot. Jarrett Page, no contract, not in camp for the Chiefs. And Eric Berry, the top draft pick in that secondary for Todd Haley on 3rd down and 3. Reggie Brown, Sammy Stroughter, and that's Reggie Brown in motion. Those are your receivers, and a quick timeout from Josh Freeman from the 34-yard line.
And right away, and it's going to be critical for this offensive line to really gel, because I expected the Kansas City Chiefs to bring the pressure early, and sure enough they were. Josh Freeman was smart, called a timeout, and said, let's get to the next play.
What will the Bucs do on offense? 34, an important 3rd and 3, important in an early sense that the Bucs wanted to give Josh Freeman a little more work than he had last week after the 4 completions in 4 attempts. Sammy Stroughter and Mike Williams are on the left side for Freeman. Reggie Brown on the right side. Quick pass complete on the left side. Mike Williams has it for a Tampa first down.
I circled Sammy Stroughter in the slot because that's typically where the Bucs like to work and Josh Freeman likes to work. Instead, they motion down Mike Williams. Stroughter with a great block, a little quick screen. You're seeing more of this throughout the league. Get the ball to your athletes in space and let them do the work. Very nice job by the guy they've been raving about in Mike Williams.
How about the feet of Freeman?
Well, they're big. No, but
they hold up a big man at 6'6".
He has wonderful feet, and that's a characteristic that all the top quarterbacks in this league, and we'll watch that throughout the night.
17-yard pickup in the red zone in the Bucs zone. That's the handoff to Cadillac. Churning forward. Cadillac led the team in rushing touchdowns and rushing yards last year. And again, a 5-yard pickup. Says I'm healthy. He, for the first time in his career, played in all 16 games.
Cadillac sure looked good last week. Talked to Raheem Morris. As you watch Cadillac with the nice vision, the cutback, getting positive yards. Raheem Morris said last week he was yelling at Greg Olsen through that headset, get Cadillac out of there, and sure enough, he's out, and Derek Ward is in the backfield now.
Derek Ward also yelling. He apologized for that. We'll expound on that in a moment on 2nd down 5. Freeman in the pocket, throws incomplete. Excellent coverage. That was intended for John Gilmore. And that'll bring up 3rd down. I would ask you what you thought if that might be pass interference, but as a former defensive back, I know you're loyal to the Bucs, but you might have trouble saying that.
Never. Offensive pass interference
wouldn't happen on that play. Derek Ward from Ottawa, Kansas, played his college ball, and again, after 12 carries, 20 yards, apologized for a sideline outburst in the game against Miami, and hoping to get back into shape, into form, and deliver for the Bucs. 3rd down 5. Freeman. Incomplete, intended for Stroughter. That'll bring up a 4th down. The drive stalls after the fumble recovery by Geno Hayes.
They brought a little pressure on Josh Freeman. Sammy Stroughter was right where he was supposed to be with the hot route to the flat, and Freeman just wasn't accurate on that play there.
Looked like he hit his hand earlier in this series on a helmet after a throw here.
right there on Tamba Lee, and that's never a good thing when your quarterback's holding his thumb.
And that would be a monumental fear. 31-yard field goal attempt for Connor Barth to break the ice here early, and it's good. The Bucs are on the board, 3-0. We'll keep an eye on the possible hand or finger injury of Josh Freeman. And the Bucs getting ready to kick off to Kansas City, leading in their preseason home opener 3-0. Advantage with 11:02 to go here in the opening quarter. Whether it's rain or shine, hot or cold, you can turn to Steve Jervey and Storm Team 8 for the forecast. You need to win. TV, print, online, your phone. Storm Team 8. Accuracy anytime, anywhere, all the time. Get your weather from Storm Team 8, the official weather forecast of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Arenas again, this time on the return from his own end zone. The local product still moving across the 35, 45, midfield, and into Buccaneer territory. Javier Arenas with an impressive return of 53 yards.
Well, Arenas is an explosive returner. He's a guy last week versus Atlanta had a 100-yard return called back because of a penalty. Also had another 42-yard return. He's at home. You know he's going to run hard. This guy's an explosive player who always has been good with the ball in his hands and making those folks at Port Tampa down the road proud.
Second-round draft pick out of Alabama, a corner by trade, 8 touchdowns for the Tide, 7 on punt returns, 1 on a kickoff, 1 shy of an NCAA record. So a big first down for Kansas City. Thomas Jones, the fake. Castle completes. Mike Cox, the fullback, gathering that in. And they tape the finger of Josh Freeman, and we'll keep an eye on that to make sure. Todd Torricelli, the trainer, as you said, off of Holly's helmet when he completed the pass.
And that's probably the worst fear a Buccaneer fan could have in terms of Josh Freeman going down. I think Josh Johnson's a developing player, but that would be the worst nightmare of the Buccaneers if something were to happen to Josh Freeman. It would be interesting to see if they continue to play him or just put Josh Johnson in right now.
Second down 1. Chiefs were moving the ball last time when Thomas Jones fumbled. He carries here, and it looks like he has enough as Roy Miller was on it. We saw a little bit of that 3-4 defense from the Bucs, right? When we recovered the fumble, when Styles G. White kind of moved back from that end position.
Well, conventional wisdom says when Raheem Morris took over the play calling at the end of last year, they're going back to the old Tampa 2. Rondé Barber, I like what he defines it as, Tampa 2.1. He calls it. Yeah, it's the old Tampa 2 with some wrinkles that Raheem Morris, he's evolved the system. The 3-4 is going to be part of that little hybrid 3-4. They stood Styles G. White up, Tanar Jackson and Kyle Moore combined for the turnover that turned into points.
On first down for Castle, and that's complete inside the 30. Dwayne Bowe makes the catch. Let's look at that fumble again. And we saw the little bit of that 3-4 last year against the Saints as Raheem was calling the defense.
Look at Styles White, a defensive end standing up. And one of the advantages they have, if you're in the 4-3 and you don't make a substitution, it's hard for teams to prepare for that. And that's what they have the advantage with Styles White, being able to stand up and throw some different looks and wrinkles at people.
Meanwhile, Castle crisp, a 12-yard gain on that last play, and a 1st and 10 inside of the 25 of the Bucs. That's Bowe in motion. Pitch to Thomas Jones. Tough running down to the 20-yard line. Geno Hayes, who was second on the team in tackles last year, makes that one. You know, Thomas Jones, left here. Everybody thought his career was over. He goes to the Bears, runs for 1,000. They go to a Super Bowl, goes to the Jets, runs for 1,000. They go to a championship game. The Chiefs are hoping that he can deliver here in a battle with Jamal Charles, who's a terrific runner from Texas.
And I think the moral to that story is, what are these people thinking that continue to allow him to leave their teams? I mean, he was here and had a very productive year. Chicago, as you mentioned, and the New York Jets right now.
On a screenplay to Jamal Charles, mentioned moments ago. Down to the 11-12-yard line before E.J. Biggers from his corner spot. And it's a first down for Kansas City.
Talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Jamal Charles, one of the more explosive players in this league in terms of speed and production at the end of last year. I think it's a great mix for them. You have Thomas Jones to ground and pound, and then you bring in the changeup and Jamal Charles. They've got a good backfield on their hands.
Todd Haley, who was the coordinator for the Cardinals when they went to the Super Bowl. Castle fakes, throws to Thomas Jones, and it went through his hands, incomplete. Quincy Black was over there covering.
A good job by Roy Miller, who's been strong here early, providing some pass rush. I think he's kind of the forgotten guy in this scheme. A rookie last year, played very productively. He's a bigger guy, which I think you need in today's football. Mark Dominic, their GM, likened him to Kelly Gregg, who's a Pro Bowl player up in Baltimore. But he also can bring a little pass rush. A big cog in that defensive tackle rotation for the Buccaneers.
6'2" and 310 plus out of Texas. Thomas Jones dancing to the 6, near the 5-yard line. You know, that defensive tackle with Brian Price, who we'll see, that's a 6-yard pickup there. Probably get him in the rotation, right? You figure you have 3 guys moving with Gerald McCoy anyway. And on the ends, as you talked about, that pass rush, Michael Bennett had the sack last week, who's a reserve, trying to earn a spot.
Yeah, and as we've said, they're going to have to do that pass rush and get that heat by committee. They don't have one guy. Styles White's probably the guy who's shown that he can bring it, but it's going to have to come as a collective unit.
3rd down from the shotgun. Matt Castle, end zone, touchdown, Kansas City. Looked like it went through one receiver, and Jeremy Horn hauled it in. A 6-yard touchdown pass to the veteran from Massachusetts.
Little cat and mouse game going on there. The Bucs showed a lot of pressure. Castle checked into a protection to handle the pressure. The Bucs check out, go to their cover 2, but Castle sneaks a ball in a tight window. Very impressive throw by Matt Castle.
Brian Suckup, that's the way you pronounce it, for the extra point. And for the Chiefs, delivers. So Kansas City, after an opening drive, ended with a fumble. They get the ball back, march downfield after the Bucs field goal, and the Chiefs have a 7-3 advantage. They'll be kicking off to your Bucs here at Raymond James in just a moment. Dal Lucas, Chris Myers here in Tampa. The Chiefs with a 7-3 first quarter advantage. Let's take a look at the McDonald's scoring drive. 4 minutes, 23 seconds, and Matt Castle was on his game, completing the touchdown pass to Jeremy Horn. Brought to you by McDonald's. 3rd pound Angus burger. I'm loving it. We'll keep an eye on Josh Freeman's thumb. He may not come back in on offense as the Chiefs are kicking off, so that would mean Josh Johnson would come back down. As Suckup boots it for Kareem Huggins, who led the team in rushing last week against the Dolphins. And is brought down at the 16.5-yard line by Eric Berry of Kansas City. And it will be Josh Johnson, so we'll check on the thumb wrap of Josh Freeman when we continue here from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. We hope you stay with us at halftime for the Riverbank Studios halftime report. All the highlights, stats, a special segment calling the shots with head coach Raheem Morris. We'll find out where he thinks Josh Freeman has improved the most, among other things. That's right here, the Riverbank Studios halftime report. And Josh Freeman, who is supposed to go 4 series, is out officially for the rest of tonight. You saw him tape the thumb with Todd Torricelli, the trainer there. And every doctor in the neighborhood was surrounding him on the bench moments ago, as Josh Johnson is in at quarterback and gives to Derek Ward.
The biggest concern is not only the fact that he's out and you don't really have a proven backup. You know, Josh Freeman needs reps as well. As high as I am on this young man and what I think he can potentially be, he needs reps. And they were trying to get that with him today. They wanted him to go 4 full series. So this isn't good news, but it's an opportunity for Josh Johnson to come out here and really show that he's developed throughout this offseason as well.
Josh Johnson, a very cerebral player, but has just lacked in some areas that were very disappointed last week, where his decision-making created turnovers. Quick throw here is high, but what a leaping effort from Mike Williams. And he was out of bounds, but he did make the catch. So it will bring up 3rd down and 8. And there is the right-handed thumb. Looks like the tape is off now for Josh Freeman.
You watch Josh Johnson, who was a highly accurate quarterback in college. Nice effort by Mike Williams. But I think that's one of the things they're a little concerned, is that his accuracy isn't always there, and that's a prerequisite to be a starting quarterback in this league and really to play quarterback at all in the National Football League.
3rd and 8. Derek Ward the back from the shotgun. It is Josh Johnson. Here comes pressure from the Chiefs. Picked up. He has time to get rid of it, and what a catch. That's Mike Williams for a Tampa Bay first down.
Mike Williams doing a very nice job and kind of showing us all why, we've been commenting they're treating this guy like he is a first pick in the draft, not only a first-round pick. Good job by Josh Johnson, though, coming back after a rough throw and putting it there for Mike Williams, who goes into traffic and makes a very nice catch.
The only starter named at receiver, and they did it in a hurry. They said first-round talent, went in the 4th round. We'll talk more about why the Bucs made that pick, researching his background as Josh Johnson is on the run, brought down across the 35-yard line. In fairness, last week to Josh Johnson, it was sloppy conditions in Miami, but ball security, losing a fumble, throwing a pick, that was something that worked against him, but the coaches said that he was in position to make decisions and just made some of the wrong decisions.
When you're quarterback, that's the number one thing. Yes, you have to make plays, but you have to protect that football. I had an old coach who used to say, hey, when you have that ball, you carry the hopes and dreams of your entire organization, your city. And we'll see if he can improve upon that today.
We saw Josh Freeman. It's encouraging not to play doctor, but he wasn't taken out for x-rays, so it's probably precautionary at this point as Derek Ward carries, not to risk any further injury or aggravation on the thumb of Josh Freeman. So no need to panic yet. I'm sure the staff will be all over it, and we'll know more after the game. And there it is, wrapped once again, that right hand, that throwing arm.
Caddy's asking about it. A lot of people are going to be asking about it. That's a concern for this team. I mean, he is this franchise. He's their franchise quarterback, and the future of him. And for everyone's sake with the Bucs, you hope that things are okay, and he just dinged it.
On 3rd and 7, Johnson from behind, and the pressure was there. He didn't feel it coming, and incomplete. Tamba Hali, whose helmet was where Josh Freeman hit his finger, was there to apply the pressure.
Tamba Hali's a big-time player, and he gets around the corner on Donald Penn. And if you're Josh Johnson, I think you got to help your left tackle a little bit by stepping up in the pocket. Left tackle's job is to push them around. You got to step up into that pocket. Tamba Hali putting a hurting on these Tampa quarterbacks early tonight.
So the rookie, who was all ACC his senior year at Virginia Tech and did a nice job last week, Brent Bowden, no relation to Bobby, with a kick that drops and rolls all the way down to the 17-yard line of Kansas City. We have a flag down. Looked like an exchange of tempers out on the field. 3:20 to go here in the opening quarter. And it'll be Kansas City on offense, so we're going to look at Gerald McCoy, Aqib Talib, and the Bucs on defense as Josh Freeman watches. We'll be back in a moment. The excitement of Buccaneers 2010 in the season opener building. Tickets for that home opener against the Browns on sale starting at just $40 a game. You can call 800-745-3000 or go to Buccaneers.com and see the Bucs in person opening day, and a home game next Saturday night against the Jags. The preseason home opener as Jamal Charles carries, and Barrett Ruud from his middle linebacker spot makes the stop. This is the first time. Go ahead, John, if you wanted to take a look at the defensive line here.
See Gerald McCoy kind of holding his own, and granted, it's only been his first game. I think last week we showed a lot of pictures of him kind of stalemating with defensive linemen. That's okay, but you want to see progress. When you draft a guy 3rd in the draft, you expect him to defeat double teams and be a real presence. We haven't seen that yet, and hopefully we do later on here tonight.
Jamal Charles carries for a first down for Kansas City. This is the first time since 1998, since Raymond James Stadium opened, that it is blacked out on television locally, not a sellout in time. We thank the Buccaneer fans who are here cheering on their Bucs, their preseason home opener, and again Saturday night next week against Jacksonville before the regular season home opener. So from the 30-yard line, Kansas City, which moved the ball so well going downfield, scoring the touchdown to take the lead. Just over 2 minutes to play in the first quarter as Matt Castle is at the controls, has him on the move again. Castle to throw, and a penalty flag flies as the pass was intended for Chris Chambers, and E.J. Biggers was over there tangled up with him.
And they're going to get E.J. Biggers for pass interference or holding. He was all over Chris Chambers. E.J. Biggers, who played a real strong game as we listen to Walt Coleman.
Holding, number 31, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
But Biggers is a guy who really showed up. I think it was evident to everybody last week versus Miami. But you got to go out there and do it consistently. And when you have your hands all over the opposing receiver, the referees are going to see it, and both referees saw it.
Already some guys released: Devon Hall, Daryl Pasco, and Trey Williams out of South Florida. USF added, and Vince Anderson in the secondary. Guys we may see in the second half. So another first down. This is Thomas Jones carrying for a couple, and Rondé Barber up from his corner spot to make the tackle. You spent some time with Rondé today. We'll hear that conversation next week on the broadcast.
Hey, Chris, you said corner spot. Look, that's Rondé Barber right in there. They got caught in a nickel, a situational, but if you got to get caught in there playing linebacker, just go make a play. That's what the guy has done consistently his entire career. 180 pounds soaking wet, and he's running through linemen. I love that guy because he's one of my great friends, but because of things like that, that's why you love playing with him. And it's why the people here love him, and he's had such a great career.
And has no plans of retiring. Castle complete across the middle at the 45-yard line. Leonard Pope from the tight end spot. And Tanar Jackson bringing him down. So that'll bring up 3rd and short for Kansas City.
And this is a situation right here as they bring Ryan Sims in the rotation. Why you went out and got a guy like Gerald McCoy. Oftentimes 3rd down, they got pushed around last year. See if Sims and
Brian Price is in as well.
Brian Price is in.
And Thomas Jones, the running back, with Mike Cox, the fullback. It is Jones who makes room somehow to get the first down before Ryan Sims, the former Kansas City Chief, brings him down, and with the taped thumb, Josh Freeman being led to the locker room.
And not a good sight. I keep saying it, but not a good sight for Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, and you can only hope that that everything's okay.
You're in a tough spot. As you said, he's the franchise. He needs to play and get the reps, and Raheem Morris is very careful about being out there with the first unit offensive line, and you're caught between a rock and a hard place. He's got to play. You're going to risk injury every time even you take the practice field. As the opening quarter winds down, we'll update that situation and get you to the second quarter. The Kansas City Chiefs with a 7-3 lead on the KFC scoreboard get a free cake with an 8-piece meal at participating KFC restaurants. We'll have more from Tampa in a moment. Wherever you're watching, we're glad you're with us. Another preseason on News Channel 8, WFLA TV with John Lynch, Dan Lucas on the field, Chris Myers keeping a close eye on Josh Freeman's thumb injury. 2 out of 4, 21 yards into the locker room. Meanwhile, Matt Castle and the Chiefs with a first down at a 7-3 second quarter lead. Thomas Jones with a solid run. Tanar Jackson from his safety spot, keeping Jones, the one-time Buccaneer, the 10-year veteran, from going further.
You know, and one of the reasons that they brought Sean Jones in is, as you see Tanar Jackson down there, Tanar Jackson's a very dynamic, explosive player. He's 185 pounds. They list him at 200, but he's really 185 pounds. He can't make a living down in that box. He'll make the splash plays. You see Tanar Jackson coming off a block and making the play. But they need Sean Jones to really occupy that spot and want to give an opportunity tonight.
Sean Jones, the ex-Eagle who got the start over Savvy Piscatelli. Dexter McCluster carrying on an end around before Jackson brought him down. McCluster went to Largo High. 39 touchdowns for the Packers. Got the key to the city of Largo back in May. A 2-time Cotton Bowl MVP out of Ole Miss.
2-time Cotton Bowl MVP gets you a key to the city in Largo.
Well,
I won a Super Bowl. I still didn't get one in my hometown.
You have the key to a lot of Buccaneer hearts. All right, still highly
I got
thought
one
of.
here.
and you got that Super Bowl ring, which carries a lot of weight. On 3rd down and 3. Jamal Charles in the backfield with Castle. Looks to throw, but the Bucs keep him. And Gerald McCoy makes sure that he does not get a first down on the ground.
Good job by this defensive line. Kyle Moore busting through, occupying people, and Gerald McCoy getting off his block of Brian Waters and bringing Matt Castle down. That's a good sign for Buccaneer fans.
So Kansas City will punt, and Sammy Strotter back to return again. Clifton Smith not active for the game as Dustin Colquitt is ready to take the long snap. A high kick, fair catch given. He's bumped anyway, so there should be a flag. And can he get it out? The official is thinking about it, and he does not throw the flag. So maybe it's his judgment on the interference did not cause a problem. Either way, John Lynch is shaking his head. We'll explore that.
He doesn't need to think about it.
We'll coach Rich Bisaccia with Raheem Morris upset that there wasn't a flag. Sammy Strotter gave clearly the fair catch signal. The official did not throw the flag, saying the Kansas City Chief player was blocked into Sammy Strotter.
Yeah, we just saw 3 steps, and he was not blocked in. I think they just missed that one. There were 3 or 4 officials looking at it, and I think they blew it.
Josh Johnson's throw, and that's for Mike Williams, who hauls it in. Catch made, nice sideline grab on a first down pickup.
Tell you what, this kid's making a believer of me. You hear all the positive talk. I talked with Derek Yarber, the receiver coach, and this guy just is the total package. He works extremely hard. Look at Josh Johnson go a little back shoulder fade, and Mike Williams looking like a veteran out there, really competing for the ball, gets his toes down, tap, tap.
15-yard pickup, 27-yard line as Derek Ward's in the backfield. Every time I see Mike Williams go around the football, they thought last week as Ward carries, when he wasn't thrown to, that he wasn't selling routes enough and some of that. But as you said, he's a rookie, and he has stepped up like a first-round draft pick or a proven veteran, despite what you heard about a suspension and academic issues and a curfew and quitting on the team at Syracuse. Part of the reason he went down to the 4th round, but the Bucs met with him personally. And as Greg Olson, offensive coordinator, said, Mike Williams, we spent enough time with him. I would want him around my kids, my players. He's a good character guy, despite past problems, and the guy can play football. Josh Johnson rolling and running and keeping.
That's certainly something that Josh Johnson brings to the table, and I think if he were to be your starter for any extended period, you'd see a package that featured plays and concepts that utilize his athletic ability from Greg Olson.
A 5th-round draft pick for the Buccaneers, as Greg Olson would probably like a veteran quarterback behind Josh Freeman, along with the development of Josh Johnson. His first career start was last year against the Redskins. Mike Williams over on the far side on a 3rd and 5. Throws complete, first down. That's Sammy Strotter, who you talked about in the slot, how comfortable and reliable he is there.
The more you watch that young man, Sammy Strotter, a 2nd-year player, as we see the offensive line, Vrabel putting some pressure on Josh Johnson, but this time he stepped up. He learned from that prior series, stepped up, and Strotter, who really is just a football player. This guy makes plays, and you think if they stole Mike Williams this year in the 4th round, which remains to be seen, they certainly stole Sammy Strotter in the 7th round last year. He's going to be a productive player for this team for a long time.
So a first down pickup after a gain of 11. Josh Johnson to the air again if he has time, and he does. He's going to keep it. And stopped at the 48-yard line. The veteran Mike Vrabel from his linebacker spot, the longtime New England Patriots Super Bowl champion, the ex-Ohio State Buckeye. Behind him is Andy Studebaker at that linebacker spot, who has been shadowing Vrabel and anxious to get his chance to play.
Good guy to shadow. I spent at the end of my career a couple weeks with New England, and I think they're still missing Mike Vrabel. In fact, I know they are. He was very much the leader of that locker room, and New England is been known to get rid of guys before they think that they're done. And you think of Richard Seymour, of Mike Vrabel.
Second down 6. Josh Johnson throwing, completing. What a catch by Spurlock! And Michael Spurlock has a touchdown, Buccaneers! 53 yards as Spurlock hauled it in from Josh Johnson and took off.
Watch Josh Johnson, a little play action, going to hang, and shows that accuracy right there. Michael Spurlock, who had a great catch last week, shows his return ability. You aren't going to knock him off his feet with an arm tackle. And Spurlock's kind of saying, hey, let me in this receiver competition myself.
Whether the Bucs will keep 5 or 6 wide receivers is up for debate. And Reggie Brown was supposed to get a starring opportunity tonight. Spurlock capitalizes as the extra point from Connor Barth goes through. And the Buccaneers take the lead 10-7. Josh throws the touchdown to Spurlock, but not Josh Freeman, Josh Johnson. Already more points in less than 2 quarters than they had all of last week. The Buccaneers on the Spurlock touchdown catch and carry in our McDonald's scoring drive. McDonald's 3rd pound Angus burger. I'm loving it. And the kickoff as Connor Barth delivers again. This time it's Quentin Lawrence returning for Kansas City. And he had room but brought down just at the 25-yard line by E.J. Biggers. And the Chiefs will take over on offense, trailing in the ball game. We'll get a look at more of the Bucs players on defense in just a moment. You want your fanatical Bucs coverage? Fuel your passion with the Tampa Tribune and subscribe by calling 813-TRIBUNE and get fanatical Bucs coverage all season long. The Tampa Tribune is the official newspaper of the Bucs and their fans. Thomas Jones in the backfield as Castle throws and completes. Gets the ball out across the 36-37-yard line. Tom McEwen came by to say hi up here in the booth with David Parker, Vice President of Sales from WFLA, and his father, Tom McEwen, longtime columnist, a Hall of Famer, and as a Floridian, the guy who, if any one guy is responsible for bringing the NFL to the Tampa-St. Pete area, it's that man.
Yeah, this community is very indebted to Tom McEwen. He's an institution in this community, a good man who kind of took me under my wing as a young rookie. It's great to see him tonight. Tom, we all appreciate you.
Revered not only in this area, but in all parts. People who have read his work and been around him. Second down 2 after an 8-yard pickup. A toss by Castle, and he floated it for Bo. Excellent coverage. Albert Mack was back there. Cody Grimm is in the game at safety as well for the Buccaneers.
Some of the reserves starting to come in, and these are guys that are fighting for roster spots, fighting for spots on the team. Albert Mack is a guy who's been kind of the forgotten guy in this 3rd cornerback competition. You've got E.J. Biggers, who played extremely well. You have a 3rd-round draft pick in Myron Lewis, and Albert Mack, who played often last year, saying, hey, what about me? And you want to get in there. Keep making plays like that, Albert.
On 3rd and 2, the Bucs show pressure. Castle tries to throw, and they got him. In a hurry to bring him down was Quincy Black.
Chris, you were on it. They showed pressure, and Quincy Black looks like he shot out of a cannon. And you see Quincy just simply get there before Matt Castle can do anything. And beautiful play by Quincy Black, who the coaches have really been raving about. I mean, this guy is a physical specimen. Early in his career, people questioned, does he have the instincts? But he's put that together. He's more comfortable with the system, and this is a guy who can make splash plays in this league.
When I asked Raheem Morrison, you'll hear his interview at the halftime of this broadcast. The punt for Preston Parker, backing up from his 15. Parker brought down across the 20, but Raheem Morris said the strength of the defense is the linebacking core. We have a penalty flag all the way back at the 22 of Kansas City. That linebacking core with Quincy Black, Geno Hayes, we've already seen him make big plays. And of course, Barrett Root in the middle. Walt Coleman checking on the call. We have an injured Buck player, John Alston, actually up standing in pain.
Holding. Kicking team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Holding on the Chiefs. We didn't get a number, but it'll help the Bucs field position.
And you just mentioned Preston Parker as the returner. You talk about the strength on defense. Raheem Morris thinking being the linebackers. I think the strength of this team, you look at all the returners they have. Clifton Smith, we haven't even seen him yet. Spurlock, who's returned both the punt and kickoff return for a touchdown in his career. Preston Parker looked tremendous last week. They've got plenty of depth at return man, and that's something when I was playing, we never returned a kickoff.
Yeah, we don't have to say no kickoff return for a touchdown. It's happened quite a bit in the last few years. Now, Clifton Smith, there's a mysterious illness that they can't quite diagnose, a swollen knee. Yeah, he had concussions last year, but a former Pro Bowler who did the job for Raheem Morris. And they had hoped to get him into the game today, but said no, better wait. Rich Bisaccia said don't count out Clifton Smith. It's really more about he's got to do it at the running back spot and the return game. And, of course, cut back on some of the fumbles. But your point, John's a good one. They have depth in an area that in the past they didn't have.
And I didn't even mention Sammy Strotter. Took one back last year against Carolina, I believe. And so they're very deep at the return man position.
Don't miss out on the excitement as we check the injury report. Stovall out of the game tonight, as you talked about, and Clifton Smith. There is a rumor about the gout, not exactly sure of that, but they are looking into that to confirm that. And the opener against the Browns, $40. That's all. To see the Bucs in person, call 800-745-3000 or go to Buccaneers.com. That's the regular season opener. We have a home game here next week against the Jags. Kareem Huggins in the game. Plenty of time for Josh Johnson, and he floats it in there, and it looked like he had a hand on it, but Clayton couldn't hold on. And Clayton, a guy who could go from a starting spot opposite Mike Williams to off this roster.
He's fighting for his life on this roster for sure. They've got all these young receivers who've been very impressive, and here's an opportunity for him tonight to shine. The ball was deflected there. You see Josh Johnson go back, step up in the pocket on the play action, float a ball that I believe was deflected. It was right there by 96 Studebaker. A tough catch, tough opportunity for Michael Clayton.
Huggins carries that burst of speed even when there's not a lot of room before Andy Studebaker behind Vrabel, as we had talked about, made the stop after a 6-yard pickup.
I mentioned in the open, and I don't want to be too hard on Derek Ward, but we've seen him get some opportunities tonight. Well, there haven't been a lot of holes. Well, Kareem Huggins didn't have a lot of room there, but he's been making it happen. And so, you know, that's the standard. That's what you're competing against. And Kareem Huggins, Raheem Morris told us early on, this guy's an angry worker, and that's what he's been doing. He's got some speed, he's got some ability, but he's just very hungry right now and showing it on the field.
High snap, Johnson on third down. Penalty flag flies. The pass is complete to Mike Williams for a first down, but we'll check on the flag.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. 39. Defense. 5-yard penalty.
All right, well,
the penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
Thank you, Walt Coleman. Brandon Carr called for the infraction, but the Bucs will take the 16-yard pickup, the connection against Todd Haley's defense. So we have Adam Hayward coming in at fullback, and I want to talk about that, John, because it's something we were alerted to. We may also see Ryan Purvis at fullback for the Bucs as Huggins carries and then some. A first down. What a burst of 13 yards for Kareem Huggins. And because Ernest Graham is at fullback, behind him, Chris Presley, Rendrick Taylor, they need more out of them on special teams. So the Bucs are looking at the possibility of Adam Hayward from his linebacker spot maybe playing some fullback.
Yeah, and he swung and missed on his first opportunity, but that's all right. He's new there, but you know, the more you can do, the more versatility. I think everybody in this league learned that from Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots.
Pass complete to Michael Clayton.
But the more you can do, these roster spots, are invaluable. And so
we saw that with Roy Miller a little bit last year, and I guess and
he's been showing that in training camp, playing some down in the goal line. Purvis was just in that last play. Here comes Hayward again, and he'll get an opportunity, and what a great opportunity for a young man who played some good linebacker last week, but probably fighting for a roster spot to get to show, hey, I can help you out over here as well.
And that means that Chris Presley and Rendrick Taylor at fullback have to pick it up on special teams. After a 5-yard gain on second down, Huggins gets to the 35 of Kansas City. So it'll bring up 3rd and short.
One thing that's interesting, if you look, is that the offensive line, the first string offensive line, is still in there. And I would venture to say, and I know this from talking to Raheem, he wanted to see Kareem Huggins get an opportunity with this first unit. You know, everybody knows you don't play one running back in this league anymore. Caddy's going to be your feature guy, but you need someone as the 2 with Derek Ward struggling. Kareem Huggins getting his chance with the starters here tonight.
3 carries, 22 yards. The dynamics may have changed a little when we had the thumb injury to Josh Freeman. But Josh Johnson came in, and as you said, the first unit offensive line still in there. Johnson's throw behind the receiver and batted away incomplete. And it would have been a tough catch if Strotter could have made it, but it was thrown behind him. So 4th down and 2. And if they set up for it, would be a 52 or 3-yard field goal, so they're going to bring out the punter, Brent Bowden, who is standing at midfield.
We aren't in Miami anymore. That's where Connor Barth makes all his 50-plus yarders.
3 in one game, including a 54-yarder. And Javier Arenas is again back at the 10 for Kansas City, another local product. Got a lot of connections between the Tampa Bay area and Kansas. Bounces forward and down at about the 13-14-yard line. 4:45 to go before halftime. Remember, we'll hear Raheem Morris give an overview of the team this year coming up at the half. You're watching Buccaneers football. Behind Josh Johnson, 6 of 10, 113 yards and a touchdown. The Bucs with a 10-7 advantage over the Chiefs, who have the football. Mark Dominic went to high school in Lawrence, Kansas, the general manager of the Bucs, youthful. And then, of course, at Kansas, he interned as the Chiefs in their personnel department for a couple of seasons, actually interviewed for the GM job that Scott Pioli eventually got. Now he's running the Bucs, and Scott Pioli is running the Chiefs. Jamal Charles carries on first down. Savvy Piscatelli made the stop. He started the first preseason game at strong safety. Sean Jones started tonight.
And Sean Jones, he's been present today. He's made some good open field tackles. Now Savvy gets his opportunity. They want that starter. If you look again, the 3-4 look employed by this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. Again, they're going to give different looks throughout the year. This is not your old Tampa 2. There's going to be some wrinkles that you'll continue to see.
Second down 2. Jamal Charles carries for a first down. Albert Mack from the corner spot making the stop. Michael Bennett in on defense as well.
I talk about the 3-4. I think some people out there say, what are you talking about? Well, 3-4 means 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. Right there's the 4-man look. The previous snap we saw the 3-4 employed, where you go to 3 down linemen and you bring in a 4th linebacker. It can give you some variations and cause protection problems for the offense.
Matt Castle on first down looks one way, throws the other to McCluster, and Dexter can move across the 40. Ball comes out at the end, but the official blew it down. Blew it dead. Bigger's a little late to the party. Cody Grimm eventually stopped Dexter McCluskey.
And if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you've got to be excited about the prospect of having Jamal Charles, an athlete like that, and McCluster on the field at the same time. It's a really good mixture. You got Thomas Jones to do kind of the dirty grunt work, and then you've got 2 phenomenal athletes that jump off the screen at you in McCluster and Jamal Charles, 2 of the faster, quicker players in this league.
Tony Moiaki out of Iowa, rookie tight end, could add to that with Chambers and Bowe. A lot of weapons for Castle, who throws and completes again for another Kansas City first down. That going to Dwayne Bowe, the former #1 draft pick out of LSU.
We saw Cody Grimm earlier make the tackle on McCluster, and he's a guy who's jumped out at these Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive coaches. Raheem was kind of funny talking to the media the other day. He said he's got a swagger that looks like he's supposed to be here. He said he looks like you guys, but he doesn't necessarily play like that. He's a smaller guy. He doesn't look like the prototypical player, but the guy makes plays and knows where he's supposed to be, and I think he had a pretty good father as a football player as well.
Hall of Famer Russ Grimm was a quick pass because pressure coming. Good defense by the Bucs. Dwayne Bowe, the intended receiver. Derek Roberson back there, the safety spot. There's Cody Grimm. Yeah, I guess you're proud to say your father's a Hog, or was a Hog, and now is a Hall of Famer, and also a terrific assistant coach with the Arizona Cardinals, who've been to the playoffs, where Todd Haley was the offensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Steelers. And Russ Grimm has had some opportunities to interview for head coaching jobs. So Cody, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in terms of football knowledge. 2nd down 10. 3 wide receivers for Castle. And instead it's a handoff to Charles, who maybe gets a yard. And Quincy Black there to make the stop. Nearing the 2-minute warning here in game 2.
Another positive sign on Quincy Black, a guy who continues to show up. This is a guy they're very high on, and from what we're seeing here tonight, they have every right to be.
Bucs hoping for a stop on 3rd down at the 2-minute mark of the first half at a 3rd and 10. Facing Raheem Morris's defense, Todd Haley's team, with Matt Castle going all the way. 135 yards of total offense for the Chiefs. The Bucs have 177 total yards of offense.
These 3rd and 10s is where you want your front four to take over. It's a pass rush situation. They can put their hand in the dirt and get after it. I used to sit back there and say, go do your work, Warren Simeon. I'll sit back here and try to catch the leftovers.
Reserves in on defense for the Bucs, threatening blitz or extra pressure they don't send. Castle throws and completes, and what a move for the first down inside the 30 was Jamal Charles.
They got nice throw by Castle to Jamal Charles. Nico Kudavides sitting right there and missed a tackle. The guy's an explosive player, but you got to be able to make those tackles in open field to get off the field.
All 3 timeouts remaining for the Chiefs. Clock running just over a minute and a half inside the 30 of the Bucs. Charles brought down right away, and Kansas City with Kudavides and Crowder making the stop. Not calling a timeout here, working and milking the clock. He joined us late. Josh Freeman started. 2 out of 4, hurt his thumb on a passing play, wrapped up, taken to the locker room. Castle completes. That's Leonard Hope. Did the ball come out? No. The official is saying it's down right there.
This is one that would have to be challenged from the booth within 2 minutes, but be interesting to see in Kansas City.
Timeout.
Chiefs burn a timeout here.
Which I'm surprised they did, because that gives the booth more ample time to take a look at a play where the ball could potentially be out.
Bucs also have 2 timeouts remaining.
Todd Haley's looking up right now saying, please don't.
So the Bucs scored first on a Connor Barth field goal, and then Kansas City came back. Matt Castle a touchdown pass, and then, as we said, Freeman goes out, and a thumb injury. That's all we were told. No x-rays or results at this point. Josh Johnson comes in, throws a touchdown pass to Michael Spurlock, and that's where we are at 10-7. 3rd down and 2. McCluster and Jones in for Matt Castle. Will they send pressure? Yes. The floater is hauled in by Jones near the first down marker. Michael Bennett from that end spot was back there with him.
It was Styles G. White, I believe, on the tackle. And nice job by Castle diagnosing, hey, I've got Thomas Jones on a defensive end. But good job by Styles White making an open field tackle, showing some versatility.
So one of the few starters still in there on defense. Quincy Black had moved over to the middle linebacker spot when Rude came out. We mentioned Hayward played some fullback, and you talked about Nico Kudavides playing, of course, led the team in special teams tackles last year.
Most of the starters in the back end, linebacker and secondaries, are out, but Raheem Morris again, last week he did it in Miami, he wants to see this front four generate some pass rush. So if you look out there, he's got McCoy, he's got Styles G. White, he's got Bennett playing inside, and he's got Tim Crowder. They're looking for pass rush, and these are great opportunities to allow these guys to get after Matt Castle.
That was a Kansas City timeout, so they have one remaining. Already in field goal range. Castle calmly throws and completes, but brought down at the 12-yard line is Chris Chambers. Short of the first down. Clock continues to run.
The Bucs and Raheem Morris dial up some pressure. See Quincy Black coming free.
And they spike it to stop the clock so they can preserve a timeout.
And at this point as a defense, you just need to keep them out of the end zone. You're all right giving up a field goal. They've worked themselves, matriculated down the field. I think of Hank Stram, remember matriculated
yes.
down the field?
You had the pocket square like Hank Stram used to wear in your coat earlier today. Gerald McCoy is in, the #1 draft pick out of Oklahoma, 3rd overall. Remember, Raheem wanted him in these 2-minute situations. 3rd and 3. Castle hands off to Thomas Jones, who goes down at the 10-yard line. And they may let the clock run down.
It's 4th down here. I don't know if Castle, well, they're...
Do they realize? I guess they're going to just run forward. Try to get it offsides or burn the timeout. Off. 13 seconds and counting. And a timeout call, and that had been addressed with the official that, hey, if we don't get the penalty, we'll burn the timeout and try the field goal attempt with 3 seconds remaining. So the final Chief timeout of the half. And this should be, barring a penalty, the final play of the half.
I think, you know, they did their job. As I said, your job once they get down in this territory, just keep them out of the end zone. And, you know, you never know when you put that field goal team, you generate that rush up front. Maybe you can block that field goal, but at the least bit you go to halftime tied at 10.
28-yard attempt as Ryan Suckup will try and deliver. Colquitt's the holder. High snap. He grasps it. Gets it down, and the kick is good. So that ends the first half. And we are tied at 10. Let's head down to the field. Dan Lucas is with Coach Raheem Morris.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Coach, obvious concern in the building for Josh Freeman. I imagine you're going to get a report as soon as you go inside, but Josh Johnson put on the spot and perform well for you guys. Comment on him.
That's what I expect Josh to do. You know, when the quarterback goes down, you're always one step away from being a starter. So Freeman went down right now. We'll go find out what's going on in the locker room. No, the team didn't blink. We continue to play. We got to finish off that 2-minute drive on defense better, and we'll feel better about going to the halftime right now.
And finally, really on a positive note, Mike Williams, again, dazzling us all, and Michael Spurlock, your receivers. They're making your decisions tough, aren't they?
You know, they're good football players, and that's a good thing when you got tough decisions. That means it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a nice brand of football around here, what we want. So we're pretty excited about that.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Chris, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And again, Kareem Huggins lighting it up on the ground, over 20 yards rushing. Derek Ward, 3 carries, only 4 yards, and did get some time with the first unit.
He did. He got his opportunity. Didn't make much happen. Now, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes there aren't holes. You got to make holes. And Kareem Huggins has been doing that the first 2 games. Derek Ward, hopefully for his sake, gets an opportunity in this second half.
And we'll look at some of the highlights from the first half, get you ready for the second half, and we'll hear more from Raheem Morris about how he's light years ahead of where he and the team were a year ago at this time. You're watching Buccaneers football. We're glad you're with us. Along Dan Lucas from the field, John Lynch up on the booth, Jimmy Starling directing, Bruce Copeland producing, our executive producer, Todd Sullivan. Not sure exactly what he does, but he gets things done. And we're glad to all be a part of the broadcast. Tied at 10 as we start the third. John, what caught your eye in the first half?
Well, Josh Johnson, I thought, responded well. As I mentioned, not a good thing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to see Josh Freeman go out, but it is a positive sign that Josh Johnson responded and really did pretty well, settled in, was 6 of 10 for 113 yards, and I thought acquitted himself very well. He told me down on the field he felt good tonight. He feels more comfortable. I thought he was great. I think Kareem Huggins is the guy who keeps on showing himself with his explosive running, and you continue to do that, you're going to work your way into that rotation.
And we saw a little more of Gerald McCoy working himself into action, the #1 pick.
Yeah, he looked a lot quicker, a lot more explosive, and by the returns, don't worry, Buccaneer fans. Gerald McCoy's going to be just fine.
We are worried about Josh Freeman's thumb, and we'll update you if we get any information before the broadcast is completed tonight. Aurelius Ben back from his own end zone and wisely downs it. So the Bucs offense will come out to the 20-yard line. Up in the booth helping us out as always, James Petralka, our spotter, Rick Odioso, our statistician, a couple of local guys that always enjoy Buccaneer football. And to start the second half, it is Rudy Carpenter, who we saw last week come in. The free agent signed out of the Cowboy camp, the former ASU quarterback, had a big pass that was completed and then fumbled by Chris Brooks.
I thought he played pretty well last week. Alex Van Pelt, the quarterback coach, told me before, listen, he doesn't have a big arm, but he knows what he has and he works well with it. He anticipates. This week, Raheem Morris called him a gamer. A guy like this playing well.
Kareem Huggins stays in the game. Picks up about 4 on first down. And now Carpenter's position might be a little bit more of value, knowing the system, or at least being here, given the Josh Freeman situation.
And sometimes it's become more common in the NFL to only go with 2 quarterbacks, but I think you spook a head coach, a general manager, when a quarterback hurts his thumb or something. Hopefully Josh Freeman's okay, but it makes you a little more prone to keeping a third guy around.
And my 4 in the fourth with John Lynch, where we asked 4 questions that you want to know about, relates to the quarterback position. We'll get to that in the fourth quarter here, as Huggins, again, just impressive yardage. So every time he gets the ball, everything's going forward.
In the 2 games we've covered thus far and watched him in last preseason, he doesn't need a big hole. He doesn't need a big space. What I've seen from him is great patience as a runner, great vision. He finds the hole wherever it is very well, and when he does, he explodes through it. And then he runs angry. He keeps the legs churning. All those are qualities that go into making a big-time NFL running back.
3rd down and 1. In 2 carries, he's picked up 9 yards. 5'9" and just under 200 as Carpenter calls the signals. Fakes it, throws it. That's Spurlock, who does not get the first down, depending upon forward progress, but it looked like he never broke the barrier, and the official is quick to say no.
Michael Spurlock's been very impressive, but you've got to know right there, I need 1 yard.
Even if you're falling forward.
Forget the dancing. Get north and south, and that's what Greg Olson's telling him right now as he meets him at the sideline.
So the first offensive series stalls to start the second half, and the rookie, Brent Bowden, back to kick. And Javier Arenas for Kansas City standing at his own 26, 27-yard line. Kick sends Arenas back inside his 25 and brought down right on the spot. A good special teams play by E.J. Biggers, who has been noticeable on special teams tonight after playing well in the secondary last week. A 47-yard boot by the rookie. We'll get a look at the Bucs on defense against the Chiefs in just a moment. Bucs coverage all season long with the Tampa Tribune, and get the Tribune by calling 813-TRIBUNE. Home delivery of the top Sunday sports section in the country. Roy Cummings on top of the Bucs day in and day out. The Tampa Tribune, the official newspaper of the Bucs and their fans. The handoff is to Javaris Williams out of Tennessee State. Cody Grimm makes the stop. Tyler Palko is in at quarterback. Castle went the entire first half. Brody Croyle has an injured throwing arm that they don't think will affect him in the regular season, but kept out of action tonight for Kansas City. Bill Stoll, the only other quarterback on the Chief roster. They picked him up recently out of Pitt. That's also where Tyler Palko went to school. 9-yard pickup on the run by Williams. No starters in on defense here for the Bucs. 2nd down 1. And this time they keep him from getting, that's Williams again, the first down. Let's check in down on the field. Dan Lucas has an update on Josh Freeman. Dan?
Hi, Chris. Well, Josh just came out of the locker room, obviously out of uniform. He wouldn't have been playing anyways, but his thumb is immobilized. It's either a very heavy wrap or a soft cast. We have not received an official diagnosis yet, but it is very heavily wrapped and obviously going to be a concern for the rest of camp, rest of preseason, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Dan.
I don't want to speculate, but that didn't look like, that looked like a hard cast to me. And you know, like again, you don't want to speculate on those things, but not a good sign.
On 3rd and 1, the Bucs with a big stop on Williams, and that was Nico Kudavides making the stop, forcing a punting situation for Kansas City.
Nico Kudavides doing what they call shooting your gun. 3rd and 1, you got to go make the play. He eludes the blocker, Cox, and gets in the backfield and makes a great play from a really good special teams contributor for the Buccaneers and Nico Kudavides.
So back to receive the punt is Preston Parker. Kudavides is known for special teams. The 1/3 of the entire operation after the offense and defense gets overlooked often, and almost had a big special teams play on a punt block right there. But Parker juggles, hangs on, and is brought down short of the 30-yard line. A 42-yard kick, and we'll call it a 3-yard return. So Rudy Carpenter brings the offense back out for the Buccaneers. We're tied at 10 here in the 3rd quarter. Further review, you know, John Lynch is not a doctor. He doesn't play one on TV. He's an analyst, a former player. And your observation on that wrap on the thumb of Josh Freeman?
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, but apparently that's a wrap. Right. Oh, my telestrator's not working, but that's a wrap, not a cast, which is a very positive sign. There it is.
Okay. Yeah, well, Josh Freeman doesn't seem as concerned, but we'll find out once
one of
the
his
doctors
great qualities.
evaluate.
He's never concerned. He's just a pretty hang loose dude.
Low key, and hopefully nothing serious. Josh Johnson came in, did a nice job with a touchdown pass. And here we have at fullback, as we said, Adam Hayward from his linebacker spot with Derek Ward back in at running back. And Ward carries, gets across the 32-yard line.
And a nice run by Derek Ward. Again, I think he sits there and watches Kareem Huggins and say, let me get out there first of all, and when I get out there, I got to make something happen.
As Hayward comes off, also Ryan Purvis from the tight end spot. They've used him at fullback a little, and they'll try him at H-back. Ryan Purvis, one coach said, he does everything good and nothing great, but they think he's a valuable asset and want to find a place somewhere on the team for him this year. He was on the practice squad most of last year for the Bucs. Again, Kellen Winslow not active tonight as the Buccaneers look like they jumped. There's
False
a
start,
penalty.
88, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And speaking of the tight end position, John Gilmore called for the infraction. We had Stevens with one last week. So Kellen Winslow, the knee surgery, he's had, 6 knee surgeries, and not healing, or if this were a regular season game, he could have played, but they're not going to push it. So even though he's suited up, not going to play tonight.
I think more than being injured right now, it's a chronically bad knee. I mean, it's a degenerative knee. It all started with that motorcycle accident way back when, and he's got a bad knee. They want him healthy for September 12th against Cleveland.
So the penalty on 2nd and 11. Ward carries again, and it'll bring up the 3rd down. Demario Williams, rather demonstrative out there from his linebacker spot.
Act like you've been there before, son.
Listed, yes, this is the 3rd quarter of a preseason game, but hey, when you're a backup, and looks like Derek Ward, we're going to take a closer look, see what happened, why he is slow getting up.
Looks like he's a little woozy. Demario Williams did put a good hit on, and Derek Ward did show a little more burst here in the 2nd half. Somewhere in there, he goes a little woozy on that hit, and yeah, you see he's out as he goes to the ground right there, that head.
So the Bucs, who wrapped up training camp without any serious injury, we just had the ankle injury to Stovall after the opener against Miami in the preseason. You've got Freeman with a wrapped thumb, Ward shaken up. So Kareem Huggins is back in. We'll see Carlos Brown likely in the 4th quarter. And that looks like Gilbo headed to the locker room. One of the reserve players trying to make this Buccaneer team. 3rd and 8 for Carpenter. Plenty of time. As a receiver, penalty flag comes in as he makes the 1st down catch, and that's the veteran Reggie Brown.
Typically in the area of illegal contact coming from the back judge.
illegal contact, number 30, defense. That penalty's declined. Play results in a first down.
And that is the call on Javier Arenas, the Tampa resident. Now, you would know that big defensive back yourself when that call comes in. The referee.
I never had any of those.
No, the refs always miss those.
I had illegal contact in another way where I get a letter from Commissioner Goodell saying you owe us $75,000.
Yeah, speaking of hits, that's one of the questions. Our 4 of the 4th with John Lynch. We will address the hardest hitters. I don't want to tip you off anything. You got to think about these on the fly. You're on the clock.
Surprise me.
On 1st and 10, that's the good news for the Bucs and Carpenters. Huggins tries to get it to the outside and does. Picking up a couple of yards. How about the umpire this year where they talk about within a certain amount of time setting the ball and then moving back to get out of the way so that they are not endangered of players moving back and forth across the field?
Yeah, it's a big rule change. Other than the last 2 minutes of the half and the last 2 minutes of the game, the umpire has now moved behind the offensive line of scrimmage. The referee, Walt Coleman over there, always goes to the throwing side of the quarterback. The umpire now is positioned behind the offense, and we'll talk about after this play how that might manifest itself on the field.
And might affect and be a benefit to defenses, believe it or not. Carpenter completes the pass at midfield, knocked out of bounds in a hurry is Rendrick Taylor, the rookie fullback from Clemson.
Yeah, and as you listen to the referees, we were up at our Fox seminar last week, and Mike Pereira now working with Fox, and one of the things he said, and right away my eyes lit up because I think this is the first rule change that may actually benefit the defense in a long time. First issue, I think defensive holding, which has been an emphasis in the National Football League the last couple years. I think the calls go way down, and they'll allow the defensive lineman to hold, which allows you to stun a little more. Secondly, it's an area where a lot of these teams, New England and such, were picking off the wide receivers. And
Rudy Carpenter going to burn a timeout here on 3rd and 2. And I want you to finish the thought on that and how a guy like Wes Welker may be benefited, a receiver with New England, and may not have that benefit with the new rule. We'll continue here in Tampa in just a moment. And we come to you from the press box here at Raymond James Stadium. Rudy Carpenter facing a 3rd and 2, and I want you to finish your thought on the movement of the umpire. Amazing how one little shift in an official might affect the way we see offenses perform, not just the way a game is called, but the way a game is run.
Yeah, and think of a player like Peyton Manning. We talked about the umpire will go back to his old position during the 2-minute drill, but Peyton Manning runs the 2-minute drill throughout the course of the game. With the umpire having to spot the ball and then get behind the offense, that slows down Peyton Manning, who's given everybody in this league fits with that kind of tempo. And really a benefit for the defense.
Carpenter threw behind. Reggie Brown incomplete. It forces a punting situation. And another thing, John, I know you were telling me when we were having dinner at Ocean Prime over near International Plaza that, guys, there were some receivers that would run around that, use that umpire as kind of a pick sometimes on defensive backs to get open.
Well, the umpire was sitting there in the middle of the field 5 yards behind, right behind the linebackers, and that's what they would coach them. You run right at that umpire, and that will pick the defensive player, less congestion. And for a defensive safety, I used to run into those guys all the time, the umpire. I think this would be a benefit for the defense.
Well, it's the first time something like that's happened in a long time. The offense has been the benefactor of a lot of the rule changes over the years as the fair catch made inside the 15-yard line. A shout out, our friends at News Channel 8 and WFLA, to John Schuler, president of the Florida Communications Group. Also, Joyce Luters, Director of Finance, Bill Barker, Vice President of Operations, and David Parker, Vice President of Sales from WFLA TV. He was up here with Rick McEwen a few moments ago. Raheem Morris at the half talking a little bit. He's always smiling. He wouldn't do the impressions for us on camera, but you've seen him do. He does a Rondé Barber. He does a Josh Freeman, right?
He does them well, too. He really does. One of the things he talked about this week, they did their rookie show, is that a young team like this block out the distractions of breaking camp, having a rookie show, and he made sure with a hard practice the day after the rookie show that they'd come out here and play strong today.
Strong run by Jackie Battle, free agent out of Houston for the Chiefs, and with all the impressions, Raheem Morris would like to do the impression of a winning head coach, and that race to 10. He didn't want to give us an official slogan, but that's something that's been kind of talked about a little bit. Get 10 wins, get to the playoffs, and I think this is a team capable. John, you tell me, looking at the schedule, that first half favorable, assuming Josh Freeman continues to grow and is healthy, a 6 to 8 win team, at least early going.
Yeah, and who knows what the ceiling is. I think you kind of dictate that. I think the important thing, as you see Battle carry the ball again, is that you don't worry about, as a football team, you don't worry about other people's expectations. You worry about your expectations within that locker room. And Raheem Morris has a young team. He's trying to let them know that, hey, don't let other people put your expectations on us. Race for 10. That's an aggressive expectations, but heck, let's have those kind of expectations.
Eric Lorig, the fifth-year senior, once a tight end out of Stanford, playing on defense. Some of the reserves in for the Bucs as Battle remains in the backfield on 3rd and 1. Battle carries. Bucs stuff the middle. And let's see. It is a first down. And, you know, the NFC South has had a history of a last-place team going to the top of the division, and no greater example than the Super Bowl champion Saints, who went from 8-8, which was at least after a good year in the division, to the top. And if that trend continues, the Bucs at least can spiral upwards. So yes, don't set a limit on yourself, even if you're a young, growing team. On first down, Palco, quick throw, complete to Lance Long, free agent out of Mississippi State.
Back to Eric Lorig. Everything about this Bucs team is young, particularly their head coach. He earlier this week likened Eric Lorig to an old Ninja Turtle. Remember that cartoon?
Yes. Donatello and the whole right.
He said Donatello had great knee bend. He had great quick twitch, and that's what he thinks this young man out of Stanford. Another 7th rounder. They likely could have 2 7th rounders make the team. Brett Bowden, I think, is a shoe-in as the punter, and Lorig, they've been very impressed with.
The free agent Brandon Gilbo, who we saw walking off, battling at that same backup end position behind Lorig, as Palco, the lefty, delivers. And also delivering after the catch was John Alston. Speaking of Stanford, the free agent linebacker brings down Tim Castile, the fullback.
John Alston, a real nice free agent acquisition this offseason. Watch Alston over here drop back, read the quarterback's eyes, and then come deliver a blow. This is a guy who plays with great speed, can be a good backup linebacker, and a guy who's been a special team standout at his different stops, Oakland being the last one.
All these Stanford players on the field. You getting the itch to run back down there?
You're going to have a smart defense. 1st and 10.
Palco fakes it, keeps, and he is running toward the sideline, and the first down marker out of bounds near midfield. 4:33 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Palco following Matt Castle and picked up 14 yards on that run, and Corey Lynch, no relation to John, ran him out of bounds.
Nice design by Todd Haley and his offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss. People who know the NFL know that name. He's back from his college football stint at Notre Dame. Nice call there. Probably saw something in the box that they were crashing down and ran the keeper for Palco.
And this time it's Jackie Battle. Nice step inside the 40. Where are the Buck defenders? Finally, Derek Roberson brings him down near the Tampa Bay 30. A 21-yard gain.
Good run and good sign for Kansas City. Jackie Battle running hard, but just some sloppy tackling on the part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense.
That defense we'll talk more about with Rondé Barber at the halftime of next week's game, the home game against Jacksonville. You sat down with Rondé for a fascinating get to know you. All these years with Barber watching him play, and you learn something new every time. And our 4 in the 4th with John Lynch coming up here in just a few moments as well. And Eric Lorig on the tackle.
Really enjoyed sitting down with Rondé. Obviously a good friend of mine who I played with for a long time. As we see Nico Kudavides spill the ball and Eric Lorig getting in there and wrapping up Jackie Battle. But Rondé Barber, I think, had a very honest interview where he talked about his future, how long he wants to play this game, and I think people will enjoy it. I certainly did.
2nd down 5. Palco pass complete and run out of bounds. Tim Castile on the catch. Let's listen to a little bit of Rondé Barber, your chat with what he had to say.
You know, last year could have been my last year. I mean, I had some fallout the year before Monty left. I didn't know if I was still going to be able to fit in around here, but Raheem embraced me making the change to Jim Brates' defense. I played pretty well, even though I didn't record that many statistics. I played pretty well in the defense, and I just felt like I still had it, and I wanted to prove something still.
Referring to Monty Kiffin and then the Jim Bates transition, and he's older than the head coach.
I've been there. never older than a head coach, but certainly played for assistants. But I tell you, this guy Rondé Barber continues to just amaze me. Kind of quietly came in here. I remember back to his rookie year. Didn't get off to a real fast start, but he's gone on to have a career that's worthy of consideration for the Hall of Fame, the highest honor you can receive as a player.
Javaris Williams in the backfield. Palco looks to throw for the end zone and overthrows everybody, and Corey Lynch was back there covering. Raheem Morris, as training camp wrapped up and off of the preseason game last week, was talking about playing faster, harder, smarter. And he said we did 2 out of the 3. The smarter, he was referring to maybe a few missed assignments, but also penalties. And there were quite a few last week against Miami. So far in this game, only 2 penalties against the Bucs for 10 yards.
That's been better, and that's what you're looking for in the preseason. You want to see improvements each and every week. I think you're seeing both teams throw a little bit more of the playbook. And so when you have more of the playbook, it's a good sign that you can be disciplined as well.
On 3rd and 8, pressure picked up. Palco complete. A missed tackle as Castile gets near the 10-yard line. Let's check in quickly with Dan Lucas.
All right, real quickly, Chris. Derek Ward, he is out of the game tonight. A shot to the head. Precautionary measures. Brandon Gilbo, a backup defensive end, left knee. He is questionable. He's in a kind of a log jam right behind Kyle Moore. So disappointing night for Mr. Gilbo. Chris?
And updated from the Buccaneers for Josh Freeman, a fractured tip of the thumb. He is expected to play week 1. So a fractured tip of the thumb for Josh Freeman, expected to play week 1. That is the official word at this moment from the Buccaneers. So the Buc defense stops on 3rd down. A 29-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Suckup. The kick is right through the heart. So 1:02 to go in the 3rd. The Chiefs break out on top for Todd Haley. And we'll kick off to the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay trailing by 3. We'll be back in a moment. Coverage of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like this, kid. Log on right now to TBO.com, keyword Bucs. You get video, highlights. You can read the blog, participate. You get to hear from the columnists and submit your fanatical fan photos. Even share your opinions on the Bucs forum. It's all on TBO.com and the keyword Bucs. Suckup ready to kick off at Preston Parker, who's been active. Again, no Clifton Smith in the game. So the reserve receiver, who hasn't had much of a chance running routes tonight, did last week against Miami, but has been busy in the return game. And he'll down it in the end zone. So from the 20-yard line, we'll get John Lynch's thought on the fractured tip of the thumb and the optimism that Josh Freeman will be ready for week 1, how that might affect his play in the preseason or practice time. We'll get that in just a moment from the former Buccaneer and Super Bowl champion with us in the booth. And we're glad you're watching Buccaneer football here from Raymond James. The Bucs quarterbacks following Josh Freeman. Josh Johnson with a 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And John Lynch, how about that? A fractured tip of the thumb from Josh Freeman. So ready for the regular season opener, but how does that affect his preparation in his 2nd year?
Well, I think good and bad news. I mean, the good news is he's going to be back for that opener as they see it right now. The bad news is he misses training camp, and as we mentioned before, this is a young quarterback who only started part of last year.
Carpenter set to throw on 1st down. And for Ryan Purvis, that has a 1st down catch near the 38-yard line.
And he needs every rep he can. I've been very vocal about what I think his ceiling can be, and I think that is an elite quarterback in this league.
18-yard pickup.
But at the same time, I've been very clear to say he's not there yet. He needs to develop. So not good news in terms of that, but I think really positive when you start seeing a guy with a hurt thumb at that position. Now, the question is, he'll be back. Will he be 100%? You've got to grip that ball. That's his throwing hand. It's not his offhand, his throwing hand.
Huggins carries. Kareem Huggins near another 1st down.
And so I think a great deal of concern for the Buccaneers. It gives Josh Johnson more time to possibly get ready in case they need him during the regular season, but maybe gives them an opportunity to go find a veteran guy. And we'll see. I saw our buddy Trent Green down over
doing
here.
the Kansas City Chiefs broadcast, who had just been offered a contract from the Bears, or at least an opportunity to go to Chicago. And the third quarter coming to an end. There is an injured player down near midfield. Kareem Huggins, 7 carries. He had 9 yards on that last pickup. That is the end of the third quarter. The official is saying, hold on a second, we had an injured player before the clock wound down. It's Maurice Leggett, corner for the Kansas City Chiefs, who they are looking at.
You know, and I don't want to be putting bad vibes into people, but you remember a guy named Kurt Warner who played the quarterback position.
Trent Green would remember him.
Yeah, and at his stay in, when he was with the New York Giants, he struggled with a hurt thumb for a long time, and so very critical, you know, piece of a quarterback's talent is the grip on the ball, and you know, we'll see, and hopefully all indications are he'll be back, and let's hope that when he's back, he's healthy.
So Josh Freeman completing a pass, and the thumb hit on the helmet of Tamba Hali. He was 2 out of 4. And the idea coming into the game tonight, the Bucs wanted to give him about 4 series. They wanted to throw the ball a little more, have him try some of the other receivers. Mike Williams looked good early. And after that, Freeman came out. They wrapped the thumb. Josh Johnson comes in, had the touchdown pass to Michael Spurlock. And Rudy Carpenter has come in for Kansas City. Matt Castle, a touchdown pass in the first half. Brody Croyle not available for tonight's game, and Tyler Palco has come in since. That's been the quarterback situation so far. And the running back situation, you know, you talked about how Derek Ward would have an opportunity. He got his bell rung. 5 carries, 11 yards. Kareem Huggins, meanwhile, 7 carries, 44 yards so far. And again, he was the leading rusher for the Bucs last week. And whether you put him in with the first unit, second unit, third, against the second defense, whatever, he seems to make big plays.
I was told by many a coach early on in my career, don't worry about the depth chart. Don't worry about whether you don't cut yourself. They used to say, go make plays. And whenever you get on the field, and that's exactly what this guy did. You know, Raheem Morris tells the story that it was a YouTube video that he went and showed Doug Williams, who was in the personnel department, because he asked Kareem Huggins, did he have any tape? And Maurice said, I got a YouTube video, and that's what they showed Doug Williams. And next thing you know, he's signed. And you know, you hope here. We talked about Josh Freeman's injury, Maurice Leggett down, and it appears that they're being very careful to immobilize his head. And I think the NFL taking greater precaution than ever before with head and neck injuries.
Do you think that's one of the reasons, too, with Derek Ward, that once he took the shot he did, that they just didn't trot him right back out there?
It used to be you saw stars, you know, clear it up when you can see the doctor give you the old finger test right back in the game. I think Roger Goodell really wants to put a stop to that, and rightly so. As
they're bringing out a golf cart here now, John, for Maurice Leggett, the free agent from Valdosta State in Georgia.
You just hope and pray that Maurice is okay. It's really a disconcerting thing for everybody at a stadium, but you know, for his teammates, the opposing team, no one likes to see that. You play hard, it's a physical, violent game, but you never like to see somebody down with that type of injury.
I'm sure players, and John, you probably went through this when you see that happen. Hey, that's one of us out there. That could easily have been me on any play. It could be your last.
Absolutely, and one of the things that I always felt and feel stronger than ever is that, you know, yes, you're out there and you're trying to beat your opponent, but there's a great camaraderie between guys in this league. You understand that everybody has families and everybody's health is of most importance, and you never want to see your opponents go down.
So officially 6 seconds remaining here in the third quarter as Maurice Leggett is being helped from the field.
as our thoughts stay with Maurice Leggett, back to the Josh Freeman issue. I think one of the positives is that Josh Freeman this offseason got a full offseason. And I don't think people understand how many reps these teams get in the offseason programs. You have your OTAs. You talk to Raheem Morris. He didn't miss a day at that facility this offseason. He was there constantly as both teams start to come out and have their thoughts and prayers with Maurice Leggett.
That's that camaraderie you were talking about. It's a show of sportsmanship, caring.
Classy move by Raheem Morris and the Bucs to show their concern for Maurice Leggett and let the professionals do their work. And I think you always feel blessed that in this league there's the story of that young man, his name's escaping me, up in Buffalo, who had an issue, and they really saved his life, and he's walking now, and it was because of the great care that was available to him.
Chiefs kneeling in prayer for Maurice Leggett, versatile third-year player, corner and safety. We mentioned Valdosta State at his high school in Mount Zion, Jonesboro, Georgia. They retired his jersey number 2. He was a terrific high school player. Played in 10 games on special teams for the Chiefs last year. And backing up, coming in here, Brandon Flowers at one corner spot. Mike Vrabel looking on. Let's see if we can tell what happened here, John.
Well, they teach you, and they teach it for a reason. Keep your head up when you're tackling, and it looks as if his head went down. And you get men that are this powerful, this strong, this fast, this explosive as Kareem Huggins has been running. We've talked about that. And when you hit them and your head's down, bad things can happen. Watch Maurice Leggett come in, head goes down, and the force from the other tackler kind of sandwiches that neck. And again, we just hope and pray that Maurice Leggett is okay.
And a round of applause from those fans who appreciate those who put themselves on the line of the National Football League. Kevin Everett, the tight end in Buffalo, you were referencing moments ago.
Yeah, and that's a game I played in. The Denver Broncos, we were playing up in Buffalo, and that was one where you knew right away on the field something was wrong. He wasn't moving at all, and they went right away into, and that again, I go back to the great care that's offered with these teams. And
carted off the field. We'll update you when we can, and that ends the third quarter on the KFC scoreboard. It's the Chiefs 13, the Bucs 10, and we'll have more in just a moment. 30th anniversary going out to the TV and digital video production program at the Pinellas Technical Education Center in St. Pete. Tonight, as usual, we have several alumni and some students from the school on our crew. We congratulate you. Keep up the good work. And no matter where I travel to across the country covering sports, I always run into one of their graduates doing a grade A top-level job. So happy anniversary. TV and digital video production program at the Pinellas Technical Education Center in St. Pete. As Huggins carries to begin the fourth quarter. Officially no gain there. Chiefs leading by a field goal.
Chris, we talked earlier in the open about the importance for this young team, and yes, they've lost their quarterback, but of winning a game. You're trying to change a culture. The Chiefs are doing the same thing. Here's an opportunity for Rudy Carpenter, and if you're going to continue to move yourself down the field, you got to convert on third downs.
And he had the team in position last week against Miami on a completion to Chris Brooks, who lost the fumble. As Kareem Huggins chugging downfield. We have a flag at midfield. Looks like it could be holding.
Holding, number 73, offense, 10-yard penalty, still third down.
Derek Hardman from the tackle spot, the rookie from Eastern Kentucky. And so a 20-yard gain by Kareem Huggins is wiped out.
So we talk about how the umpire moving positions is going to show itself on the field. They're still going to call holding.
Well, when it's that obvious, yeah. I guess. And that also goes back to Again, guys fighting for roster spots. We'll have the first roster cut after the third preseason game, so that's after next Saturday's game against Jacksonville. And remember, the Bucs wrap up on a Thursday night in Houston. That's been the case for the last 7 or 8 years. Now a 3rd and 11. Carlos Brown has checked into the backfield. That's Aurelius Ben in motion, the rookie from Illinois. To the left side of Carpenter. Pressure on. He unloads to Brown. And stops short of the 40-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down. Let's check on the dates, John, when this happens. A little later than it has been.
Yeah, what they're doing, they're allowing people to carry more people later. And you see the final cut, you go from 75 down to 53 right at the end. I mean, they used to be down kind of progressively. After this game in the past, after game 2, you would have some cuts. And then you would go down to this year. They're allowing people to hold 75 all the way to August 31st, and then not down to your final roster, right down till the end, September 4th.
Quentin Lawrence is back. Brent Bowden's kick, and a fair catch called for and gathered in. We do have our 4 in the 4th, so stick around for our 4 questions with John Lynch. In fact, one of those, I was going to ask you, John, one of these are burning questions, and I always come up with a few for a game that you and I could chat about. I know Buck fans care. Of the 9 draft choices that Raheem Morris and the Bucs, Mark Dominic, have this year, how many do you think make the opening day roster?
Well, let's go through it here. I've got the list. You've got the 3rd pick in the Gerald McCoy. He's in.
He's in.
Brian Price, he's in.
Okay.
Aurelius Ben, he's in. Myron Lewis is in. Mike Williams, he's a lock. Brent Bowden, the punter, there's only one in camp. He's in. Cody Grimm, they've talked very impressively and glowingly about him.
That pass complete. Ron Tucker holds it in for Kansas City, and Palco slow to get up back at the 14-yard line.
So Cody Grimm, I think
7th round.
Yeah, he's got a chance. He's got to
Dakota
continue to play.
Watson
Dakota Watson, they like a lot. I bet he's in. And Eric Lorick, you've got a chance that you've got every draft choice on this team making this team.
Let's take a look at the hit on Palco as he got rid of the football. And well delivered by James Ruffin, a free agent. So what are you going to say, 6 or 7? I mean, I'm sorry, 8 out of 9, or what's your number going to be?
Right now, I'd venture to say 9.
9. You're going to say all 9 draft choices make it. And it looks like we have a challenge flag thrown to see if he was down when he got hit, coming from Raheem Morris and the Buccaneers.
You know, the Hall of Fame writer Peter King said earlier about this draft this year, he said, what I like about the Bucs is that their top 5 picks will get a chance to play right away in a lot.
Tampa Bay is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was not down by contact.
And right where my transition left off, what I don't like about the Bucs is that their top 5 picks will get a chance to play right away a lot. This is a young team, to say the least.
We'll check on the challenge. All 9 draft picks make it, according to John Lynch. Looked like he was down about 5 or 6 yards earlier than they gave it to him. So the replay official taking a look on the challenge from Raheem Morris with 12:19 to go here in the 4th quarter. Let's take a look.
I think a good catch by Raheem Morris. I think, he caught Veron Tucker, was thrown down by Roberson and Corey Lynch as well. And watch as Roberson close. His momentum, and Corey Lynch goes ahead and touches. He's going to take Veron Tucker to the ground. Veron Tucker gets up and scrambles for 5 more yards, as you said. And I believe this will be brought back as down by contact. Raheem Morris, as we mentioned earlier, you're trying to win a football game, so you don't leave those challenge flags in there. Use them.
And does he have help from someone from the Buccaneers above maybe the coaching staff?
They always do. Someone in the coaching booth is watching that, watching the replays, and has an eye on that, and is in his ear throughout the game.
So the referee, Walt Coleman, has reviewed.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down by contact at the 31.5-yard line. It'll be 2nd down. Tampa Bay will not be charged a timeout.
So worth the challenge. It'll bring up, instead of a 1st down for Todd Haley's team. Let's check in with Dan Lucas down on the sideline.
All right, Chris, standing here with Cadillac Williams. First of all, Caddy, your reaction to Josh Freeman and his spirits in the locker room. I understand he will be ready for opening day. At least that's the plan.
Yeah, I kind of held my breath when I came to the sideline there, like, Josh down, like, what's wrong? But, they definitely say he'll be okay for by the opener, but it just kind of dampened. But his spirit is high. It's just tough to see injuries, man, especially to your star quarterback.
We watched you at the beginning of training camp, and in these games, you're itching to go. And we know you want to go, but they got to keep holding you back. How frustrating is that?
I mean, it's real frustrating because, you go through all training camp, hitting against your other guys and things like that. So when you say opposite color, man, you just get the adrenaline, the crowd. You just want to play. So I just can't wait to September 12th, man, where I can get weight out here.
And finally, let me ask you about your buddy Kareem Huggins, because he's got everybody's heads turning. Have you ever seen a guy this fast cut like that?
Wow, no doubt, man. It's been a pleasure, working with the young guy, man. He deserves everything that's going to come, and he have a great career ahead of himself.
All right, Cat, your time will come when it really matters. Thanks a lot. All right, guys, back at you.
Thanks, Cadillac Williams and Dan Lucas. Falco's pass tipped away and incomplete. Battle had carried before that. Corey Lynch on the coverage. And I know you've been big on Cadillac Williams, his impressive work coming back from the knee surgeries. It's kind of a tough spot. You want to make sure he holds up and can be your star back, but given the history of knee injuries, I guess the Bucs have to be cautious before they lock up Cadillac long term.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things bode well for the Bucs in terms of Cadillac this year. First of all, 16 games healthy last year. Oftentimes guys have their best seasons 1 year after that knee injury. Takes a little while, a season, to get back in the flow.
Second down 10. Falco dumps it and it's dropped by Jackie Battle.
But he played 16 games last year. I've talked to him. He feels as fresh as he has, as explosive as he has since that rookie year. And he took this league by storm. I mean, setting records when he first came onto this league. And I'm excited for him. And there's nothing wrong with Mark Dominic said, hey, having a halfback with a contract year, it's not always a bad thing. They run a little harder sometimes.
And I remember a running back by the name of Terry Allen, after knee surgeries, multiple knee surgeries, having terrific seasons for the Redskins and Vikings. A 3rd and 10 now. The Bucs defense trying to put the stop on the Chiefs, get the ball back for their offense. Falco from the pocket, in and out of the air, and intercepted. Did he hold on? Yes, Derek Roberson, the free agent from Rutgers.
And he paid for it. He took a hard lick, but he held on to that football.
Pass was intended, looked like, for Javaris Williams, and he didn't hold on, and Roberson did. Second turnover for the Bucs defense tonight. Geno Hayes had a fumble recovery early in the game.
See, nice pressure by James Ruffin coming off the end, pressuring. The ball's tipped. And Roberson and Falco saying, please catch the ball. But Roberson, Johnny on the spot. Tips and overthrows are where most picks in this league, interception in this league comes from. And he was very opportunistic, being in the right spot at the right time.
Rudy Carpenter on first down, middle of the field, and that's a first down inside the 18. Spurlock with a fingertip grab.
Spurlock really having an impressive preseason. We saw the touchdown earlier, the 53-yard touchdown, but continues to make plays. And he's saying, hey, I'm not just a returner. As the cannons go off, I played here 6 years, and those things still scare the heck out of me every time
You jumped again. It's funny watching other players from opposing teams come in here, and they see that. They all duck in the red zone and the Bucs zone. That's a good sound if you're a Buccaneer fan. Carlos Brown carries. He was picked up just prior to the game against Miami from the Saints, rookie running back from Michigan.
The guys in the huddle used to give me a hard time because they said, dang, Lynch, you played here 15 years. It was only 6 years in this stadium, but every time that thing would go off in the midst of a game, I'd be jumping in that in that huddle.
It was a terrific atmosphere 2 Saturday nights ago when they had free to the fans to come in, and they had skills competition with some of the players, and almost 25,000 fans supporting the Bucs of 2010. Carpenter looks, has time down the middle of the field for the end zone, and he overthrew Ryan Purvis. And he had him.
He did. Ryan Purvis had a step on him, and that's saying something, because Raheem Morris earlier this week said he's very athletic, and very slow. I've never heard that kind of description.
Usually some speed goes with the athleticism.
And Chris, I don't know if you see it. I see it. This Rudy Carpenter, you know, maybe not the biggest arm, but he is a gamer.
You called him kind of sneaky, and I get that impression. It's a good sneaky, a guy that can function for the team. See what he can do here on 3rd and 9. In the pocket, end zone, and just did overthrow Terrence Nunn, or threw more toward the out of bounds on the left side of the field, so it'll bring up a 4th down and a field goal opportunity that could tie the game. You like the new, by the way, the postseason overtime rule, where if you don't score a touchdown your first try, the other team gets possession. 36-yard attempt here for Connor Barth.
I'm kind of a traditionalist, and I always felt as a defense, so what, you lost the toss, get off the field and give your team an opportunity to go score. But the owner saw otherwise.
I figured you'd say that. After the Vikings lost in a hurry at New Orleans in the championship game, and Connor Barth, the kick, ties the game at 13. 9:42 to go in the 4th quarter. The pirate ship is rocking. The Chiefs and the Bucs are tied. The McDonald's scoring drive that brought us to the tie. McDonald's 3rd pound Angus burger. I'm loving it. So Connor Barth, the one-time Kansas City Chief who has found a home here in Tampa Bay with a boot. Quentin Lawrence is deep for Kansas City from his goal line. Stopped at the 15-yard line. A good special teams play by Corey Lynch. So the Buck defense will be on the spot against Tyler Palco following the turnover that allowed the game-tying field goal. The Bay Area, that means after sleeping in all summer, the kids will have to get up early. Monday night at 11, News Channel 8. Stacy Scheibel is on your side with ways that parents can help kids adjust their sleep habits, get them on the right track, and get them a good start at school. Watch this back-to-school report Monday night at 11 on your official Buck station, News Channel 8. On 1st down, Jackie Battle carries. Let's check in down on the field. Cody Grimm making the tackle. Dan Lucas.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm here with last year's training camp darling, Sammy Strotter. Now you're just an old guy out there catching passes. Tell me about your teammates, because the youth on this team is at your position and has really thrown a breath of fresh air into this team.
Oh, man, it's exciting. It's exciting, especially me already been through it and giving my advice to the guys and just seeing how much they're having fun out here. You know, that's the biggest thing. Everybody want to say, you know, make the big lights way bigger than what it is. It's football, man. And it's good just to see the guys transitioning, working on things that we work on in practice, and have it transition to the games. It's a beautiful thing.
Receiver, the position that had to be dealt with in the offseason, do you think even with this youth, it can become a strength on this team?
Oh, yes, every day. Every day we go into the thing, every time we go into our wide receiver meeting, that's what we say. Let's make this the strength. Because in the beginning of the season, before everything was said and done, that was a weakness. That was the one thing, you know, with AB leaving and things like that. So that was a big priority, and that's something that we're going to keep on pressing upon. You know, the wide receivers going to get this team started, and hopefully, you know, we got a great group in the O-line and the running backs, great quarterbacks, and, you know, one of those things where you just got to mesh this all together and have a spectacular season, man.
Last week you had a touchdown in the Miami game in the rain, the mud. Tell me about that play. That was a big one for you guys.
Oh, man, it's just Josh Freeman being Josh, you know, extending the play a little bit and giving me an opportunity. It's a blessing just to play with a guy like that, you know, and just the different things that he sees and the way he mature is a beautiful thing to see also.
And I know you guys are behind your quarterback. It banged up his thumb tonight.
Yes,
so his spirits, your spirits, everything's going to be all right?
Oh, yeah, of course. You know, of course. It's football, you know, dealing with a little bit of adversity and just how you rebound, you know. And it's just one of those things where everybody's going to love to step up and, you know.
Very good. Sammy, thank you so much. All right, Chris, let's head back up to you.
Crowd into it on 3rd and 3. Flacco throws, and behind the receiver, the Buck defense takes a stand. That was intended for Veron Tucker. The Bucs had to use a defensive timeout during that series. Forces a punting situation. That's one of my 4 in the 4th questions for you, John. Who will win the starting wide receiver spot opening day opposite Mike Williams, who had 3 catches tonight for 44 yards?
You know who my money's on? And I think Sammy Strotter. If you ask me who their number 2 receiver, I think it's Sammy Strotter. But he's a guy you want as a change of pace as that 3rd slot receiver. I think it's Maurice Stovall who's out with an injury today. I think it's he or Reggie Brown. But I think if you had to ask me right now, Stovall, no one really stepped up and grabbed it in his absence tonight.
That'll make Saturday's preseason game here against Jacksonville important, as Preston Parker takes in the punt and has room to the outside. Into Kansas City territory.
There's that depth at returner we continue to talk about, and Preston Parker, he's not ready to not put his bid in for playing time as well.
An 11-yard return, and Michael Spurlock, return specialist. 3 catches tonight, including a touchdown for the Bucs. Closed captioning, and see the nation's #1 closed captioning artist. Congratulations to Dee Bano of America Captioned in Sarasota on coming in first place for live captioning. You can type yourself a pat on the back. Great job, Dee, and we're all very proud of you. Bucs with a 1st and 10 from midfield. Rudy Carpenter, 6 out of 9 for 58 yards in a tie game. Bucs have 1 timeout remaining. Carpenter throws and completes inside the 35 to Aurelius Ben. 2nd-round draft pick out of Illinois. At Dunbar High School, the famous high school in D.C., he played receiver, but also running back, safety, linebacker. He did it all.
Watch Aurelius Ben. Nice explosion, nice cut out of the break, and a good job. One of the things that's been questioned about him is that he's not a natural pass catcher. Right there, he did a very nice job, obviously been working on it. And again, I mentioned earlier, everyone's talking so much about Mike Williams. They are not upset with this young man. They think he's going to be a big contributor this year.
After that 16-yard gain, this is Carlos Brown. Carlos Brown down at about, they're going to mark it inside the 10 of Kansas City. Got to the outside and took off. He's in the Bucs zone.
And I tell you what, you want to make it in this league as a wide receiver. Not only do you catch the ball, but you come and block. And Aurelius Ben, watch him come down into the picture and just put a crack right there on number 48 right there, the strong safety. Aurelius Ben making his presence known as a blocker as well as a receiver.
A 26-yard gain for the free agent running back who goes straight ahead, knocks it down to about the 5.5-yard line of the Chiefs. You know, you talked about Cadillac Williams and Kareem Huggins, who have had great camps and good preseason games so far. Derek Ward certainly disappointing, but Clifton Smith out, Carlos Brown starring.
Watch Aurelius Ben go out there and dig him out. And again, that fires me up here. But Aurelius Ben, big, strong guy.
And Brown, the tallest of the running backs on the roster at 6 feet. Ben is 6'2", blocking from that receiver spot. 2nd and goal. Carpenter, quick pass to Terrence Nunn. Touchdown, Buccaneers. Working with the reserve receivers, Rudy Carpenter connects on a 6-yard touchdown toss.
Rudy Carpenter's been very impressive the last 2 weeks. He's just got a little moxie to him. Call him sneaky, call him a gamer. He gets it done. Last week he put the ball in Chris Brooks' hands, a perfect strike that would have brought them back. And again, just a simple smoke route. But I'm very impressed with the way Rudy Carpenter has acquitted himself the last couple of weeks.
And the extra point by Connor Barth. The Bucs a 7-point lead. Terrence Nunn, the free agent receiver in his 2nd year from Nebraska. You mentioned Chris Brooks. Those guys are on the fringe along with Preston Parker and even Michael Clayton. You know, the wide receiver position deep, if you figure Mike Williams, Sammy Strotter, Aurelius Ben, and Maurice Stovall are making the team, then where does Reggie Brown, Michael Spurlock, do they keep 5? Do they keep 6?
Yeah, you know, I think that remains to be seen, but these guys keep on putting, guys like Spurlock keep putting good efforts in. I think the thing that Spurlock has going for him is that he's a returner as well, so he offers that versatility. I think the guy who's really on the bubble, per se, is Michael Clayton. He's got to really show himself. He'll probably have one more opportunity next week and some in the fourth week, but he's a guy who's got to make his statement. I think you got to count on Ben being there. Obviously, William Strotter's going to make the roster.
Let's take a look, Jonathan McDonald's scoring drive. 6 plays, make that 4 plays, 50 yards, and the touchdown toss. McDonald's third-pound Angus burger. I am loving it. Buck fans are loving this. Talked about creating a winning culture. You can do a lot of things in the preseason. Adjust a roster, work on some different alignments, but nothing beats a victory, whether you're first string or third string. And Hunter Lawrence kicks off, giving Connor Barth a break, and Quentin Lawrence returns, and they keep him short of the 15-yard line. I think the ball might have come out on the end there after a hard hit, and he gathered it back in, but that was a good special teams hit.
By Preston Parker. And, you know, he's fighting for a roster spot, and I love that about preseason, is you got guys that are hungry. They signal that the Chiefs did recover the ball. But you guys got that are hungry and vying for jobs, and when guys are hungry, things like that happen. A little kaboom, the ball comes out.
That almost looked like the way he put his shoulder in there, he was aiming for where that ball was.
You go try to put your helmet on that ball. They tell you that all the time. Wide receiver, but obviously played some safety somewhere in his life. He's bringing it.
Special teams have done a nice job tonight. There were a couple of big returns early by Kansas City, but Rich Bisaccia's unit has shut them down since and been solid on the return game. Palco on the move, run out of bounds just across the 15-yard line.
You mentioned, there you see Rich Bisaccia right there.
Assistant head coach.
His teams always, his special teams, he calls them we-fence. He don't like calling them special teams. We-fence, as he refers to them, seem to always play well. This guy is one of the fine special team coaches in the league and a future head coach somewhere, whether it be in this league or in the college football game.
After a 4-yard pickup by Palco, he needs 6 for the first down. Short completion. Gets the first down at the 25-yard line. Rich Gunnell out of Boston College hauls that in. We're talking about hard hits, or another 4 in the fourth question. Who's the hardest hitter you ever played with, John Lynch, and who gets that label on this current Buccaneer team?
Hardest hitter I ever played with, likely Al Wilson, who I played with in Denver. I want to
linebacker?
Yeah, linebacker. And Al just had a knack for exploding upon people. And who's the harder in this hardest hitter
on this
in this
Buccaneer defense? What do you think?
I would say Tenard Jackson. He's a smaller safety, 190, 95 pounds, 85, somewhere in that range. Not a big guy, but he brings the wood. He really does. He's got some highlight hits. Tenard Jackson would be my vote.
Did you once play against your brother-in-law and deliver one of the harder hits? Take him out a little bit. Jackie Battle carries here.
I don't know about a hard hit. I knocked him out, though.
Oh, well, that's a hard hit.
He went to sleep for a little while. I'm sorry, John. He's one of my best friends in the world, and I may get in trouble with my wife. I'm not supposed to bring that up.
Oh, you're not supposed to bring that up? I'm sorry. Well, I brought it up, so Mrs. Lynch blamed me for that one. I'm sorry. We do all kinds of research. We don't want to waste the information. And Tenard, that's interesting. Tenard Jackson, huh? The toughest hitter on the team. Palco throwing and completing up around the 45-yard line for a Kansas City first down to Cody Slate, the backup tight end. Tell me about, real quick, what goes into delivering a tough hit. I know you've talked about Ronnie Lott before. Don't just see the guy you're going to hit, see him through him 2 or 3 deep.
Yeah, you know, he taught me that in college, that you try to hit, only about 1% of the people, as Ronnie communicated to me, even at the highest level. You see Palco back to pass.
And he's going to keep it at the 49 of Tampa Bay.
But one of the great lessons I learned was from Ronnie Lott. He talked about hitting through your target. Everyone hits to the target. You got to hit through the target. And then there's some simple tackling technique. Herm Edwards was one of the guys who taught me about shooting through it with your arms and keeping your arms tight, which keeps your head up and also, you know, keeps you healthy.
And you learned well. Pass complete for a first down at the 42 of Tampa Bay. That's Cody Slate again.
Start talking about hitting. I start talking fast. I'm getting excited up here.
That's okay. You must miss that part of the game.
I do.
So the Chiefs trailing by 7 in a hurry-up mode here. with backup quarterback Tyler Palko, who has time. He threw too high, intended for Gunnell.
People ask me, one of the hardest adjustments leaving the game. You know, an old NBA player, you can go play some basketball. Old baseball player, you go play some pickup baseball. Who do I go hit?
That's where they have to go out and hit a sled somewhere in a high school.
Take up boxing.
2nd down 10. I want to ask you the toughest guy to tackle in all your years playing. I was wondering about that, as hard as you hit people, as battles for some yardage.
And that's an easy answer, Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
He wasn't the biggest guy, but you couldn't touch it.
It was just a matter of grabbing him, right? You couldn't catch up with him.
I mean, you couldn't have tackled him in two-hand touch. I mean, the guy was the most phenomenal athlete that I ever played against.
3:15 to go here. 3rd and 5. And it's a first down for the Chiefs as they continue to move with the Palko to Battle combo.
Very impressive catch by Battle in the flat. Battle's a big boy at 6'2", 240 pounds. He showed some impressive running skills and showing some impressive hands right there.
Keyshawn Moore inactive tonight out of Florida, but we saw Thomas Jones and Jamal Charles for Kansas City. Palko, pass almost, but tipped away at the last moment. Looked like Veron Tucker was able to get at least his hands on it before Trey Williams out of USF kept him from bringing it in. Just picked up in the last week.
Just picked up, and a good thing about a corner is you don't need to know much about scheme. Go cover that guy, and he did it well right there.
Palko this time gets Tucker underneath, but he's run down in a hurry. First hauled it in at the 25, and Albert Mack made sure he didn't get any more.
The thing I like is that these guys are competing not only for roster spots, they're competing for that win. You see Albert Mack come up very aggressively, take the grass, and deliver a nice blow. We're talking about hitting. Very nice hit through the receiver by Albert Mack.
Chiefs trail by 7. Palko's pass is caught at the 10-yard line, and falling forward inside the 10 is Cody Slate, and Corey Lynch wrapped him up. The Chiefs have 3 timeouts, all 3 of their timeouts remaining. A 16-yard pickup gives them a 1st and goal, trailing by 7. We've hit the 2-minute warning. The Bucs lead the Chiefs in Tampa Bay. Chiefs with a 1st and goal, trailing by 7. Threatening to tie this game. 14th play of the drive. Tyler Palko coming in after Matt Castle played the first half for the Chiefs.
You got a lot of backups out there right there on defense for the Buccaneers. You want to make a roster. Go ahead and make a play right here. Help your team win a game.
Jeremy Horn is on the right side. He had a touchdown catch in the first half. Palko is on the move. He'll keep it. Dashing toward the end zone. He won't get in. Run out of bounds inside the 5. Vince Anderson, recently picked up defensive back, ran down the quarterback.
James Ruffin, a rookie free agent coming off that left end, has been putting relentless pressure on Palko, doing a nice job bringing the heat.
Palko trying to show he belongs. Free agent out of Pittsburgh. 3rd on the depth chart. The pitch to Jackie Battle, brought down short of the 1-yard line. Adam Hayward, who's played some fullback tonight, in the middle linebacker spot, back where he's comfortable, making the stop. Clock runs. It's 3rd and goal.
And here it is right here. The Chiefs go with the no huddle, and this is the game right here.
Palko has it. Looks. Throws. Incomplete. Off the goalpost. So it'll be 4th down.
Surely go for it on 4th down. And imagine if they were to get it, go for 2, because no coach wants to go to overtime in preseason.
I wouldn't mind a little overtime. I have a few more questions I'd like to ask.
All right.
Actually, we have one more. 4 in the 4th. We'd use 3. All right, here we go. 4th down. Penalty flags.
Close start. Number 60. Offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Yeah, and the officials say there's no more illegal procedure. It's false start. That's the official call. But what that does is kind of takes a running play out of the mix here, don't you think, John? First penalty against the Chiefs tonight.
And sometimes in the passing game actually helps you. Less congestion. It opens up the throwing angles. Not that they did it intentionally, but sometimes it can have that effect where it opens up some wider throwing angles for the quarterback.
And we're going to have a timeout called. The Bucs used their last timeout just before the snap.
Timeout. Tampa. 30-second timeout.
You don't think Raheem Morris wants to win this game. He ran about a 4.340 down there to get the side judge on the timeout.
And our TBO, Mobile Player of the Game. We often vote on this and have our crew vote. It was a close call the way Josh Johnson and Rudy Carpenter have played, but Michael Spurlock, the big touchdown catch, and then he carried it quite a bit to complete a 53-yard play. He is our TBO Mobile Player of the Game.
And I think he earned it. He's had his second nice showing. One big touchdown pass, 3 big catches. Michael Spurlock having himself a heck of a preseason thus far.
And hoping to earn a spot on the roster. We'll watch that play out next Saturday when the Jacksonville Jags come to town at Raymond James. This was the play that made it happen. 4th down, Chiefs trail by 7. Palco short of the goal line, and no, the Chiefs are not going to get in. Rich Gunnell made the catch, but Vince Anderson held on to him and wouldn't let go.
I think you can always tell a lot about a coach's mentality, what he's all about, by watching them on key plays. And a 4th down play for the game is surely a key play. Raheem Morris, as a head coach and a defensive coordinator, look at him. He brings the pressure on a 4th down. I think you can expect from Raheem Morris and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense throughout this year to be an aggressive crew. In the preseason, he wants to evaluate. We haven't seen a lot of the pressure, but I think the nature of Raheem Morris, as I know him, is to be an aggressive guy. And if you can't generate pressure up front, you got to find it somehow. He brought the pressure there, and it paid dividends.
And John, that was Vince Anderson, a 6'2 safety, a free agent pickup, Weber International, who just made a big play for a preseason game at the final moments and kept Kansas City out of the end zone. Let's take a look at our Acura drive of the game. Acura advanced, and it was Rudy Carpenter engineering that drive.
Throwing to Aurelius Ben. Right there, Carlos Brown on the great block from Aurelius Ben. And Rudy Carpenter throws to Terrence Nunn on what we call a little smoke route, and he does the rest.
And that is the difference in what has been a tightly contested game. That's our Acura drive of the game. Acura advance, and the Buccaneers will with this one, although Kansas City still has 2 timeouts remaining. And we have a 2nd and 9 here.
Chris, we talked about Raheem Morris and his decision to bring pressure on a 4th down. Very rare in this league to see a defensive head coach who calls signals. Sometimes you see Andy Reid's of the world, head coaches that call the offensive plays. Very seldom do you see a head coach call the defensive signals.
That's a good point, John. Carlos Brown bottled up at his own goal line, and there's another timeout. Chiefs are going to try and force the Bucs to either get a 1st down or get the rookie punter out of his own end zone. And Brent Bowden has been reliable so far. We have 1:06 to go here in the 4th quarter.
Plays a mean guitar too as well.
That's right, he did for that rookie tape. He played everything from rock to rap. Hey, here's my final question on the 4 and the 4th, where we ask questions, 4 questions of you. Will the Bucs add a veteran quarterback before the season starts, before the regular season opener?
Did you write that question before the game or after?
I wrote it
during it.
Even before, because
Yeah.
I thought, and again, the fractured tip of the thumb, and Josh Freeman, the Bucs say he'll be ready for the regular season opener. We only have Rudy Carpenter and Josh Johnson on the roster.
Well, I think it was a pressing issue and a good question even entering the game. You know, you're very high on Josh Freeman, and Josh Johnson acquitted himself well, as did Rudy Carpenter. But I don't know if you want to go into the season without at least bringing a veteran guy in here to see if he can offer you something better than what you have as a backup to Josh Freeman.
And Carlos Brown carries. The Chiefs use their last timeout with 1:02 to go.
I will say I was very impressed with Josh Johnson tonight. I think he answered some of the
Big step
questions
from
about
the previous
him.
week.
Yeah. He was accurate. He threw some nice balls. And, that's what you're looking for your backup. He's had everyone talks about the entire offseason that Josh Freeman has had. Josh Johnson has as well, and he worked his tail off as well, going through protections, the playbook. You mentioned earlier that he feels much more comfortable, has a better grasp on the scheme.
And Alex Van Pelt, the quarterback coach with Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, you could see, John, the improvement from the first preseason game to this one in 1 week in Rudy Carpenter and Josh Johnson. And now the rookie, Brent Bowden, from his own end zone, will try and kick it away to Javier Arenas, the local product,
who's shown us he has some dangerous return ability as well.
And he's just going to take the safety. How about that? Not even risk. And now the free kick will go to Kansas City. It's a 5-point game.
It's a good decision by Raheem Morris. He's a guy who practices a ton of situational football. Again, something that a lot of people have done since the success of the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick really subscribes to that. There you practice every situation. Raheem Morris has done it, and there's one that could come in very much in handy here.
And John, important for a rookie punter to have that experience. And he didn't just step out right away, tried to chew up a little bit of time off the clock, knowing that the Chiefs are out of timeout. So even when they get the ball back, they're going to have to work the field and the clock, and a field goal doesn't help them. They obviously need a touchdown to get out in front.
And some folks at home say, why is that a smart decision to take a safety? Well, you're backed up. You really run the risk of getting a punt blocked. And then on the other side, yes, you give up 2 points, but you gain field position. Hopefully, if you do a good job covering this, it's going to be Connor Barth. It looks like actually it's going to be Bowden on the punt on the safety.
Yeah, the free kick. And as you pointed out, too, that Arenas has speed and the field position. I mean, he might have, with the return, given him anywhere from a 40 to 50-yard field to work with. And this makes it a little bit more difficult for the Chiefs and Tyler Palco to march downfield.
Frankly, I'm surprised now Todd Haley has taken Arenas out. I think it shows you what, as much as they'd like to win the game, what Arenas means to them, and probably thought better of let's keep that young man healthy.
And good experience for Bowden. And so now the Chiefs, as Quentin Lawrence gets across the 35, will have a long way to go to try and get to the end zone of the Buccaneers. 53 seconds remain. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, all the timeouts are gone. It's been an entertaining game. Defense of the Bucs, of course, talked about the receivers, but a fumble recovery by Geno Hayes. Interception by Derek Roberson. Touchdown pass from Josh Johnson to Michael Spurlock.
This situation is a defense. We used to talk about it all the time. Keep the ball in front of you. Field goal doesn't beat you. They need to score a touchdown. Keep the ball in front of you. Make them eat clock.
And that's what they do there on the completion. Just over the 40 is Lance Long out of Mississippi State. Hauls that in, and backup corner Brandon Anderson wrapped him up. Second, they're going to need 4. Clock running. And he goes down. That's Michael Bennett. Second sack for him this preseason.
I was just going to say, in that situation, a sack absolutely kills the opposing offense right there. Think of not only the sack, you negate yards, but it also takes 20 seconds it just took them to get that snap off.
And they had to spike it, John, so it's going to be 4th down. They lost 5 on the play.
Michael Bennett's another guy who's shown throughout this preseason. In Miami, he had a sack, big sack right there. And that can be the game winner right there.
Michael Bennett from the Seahawks, former Texas A&M star, had the only sack for the Bucs against the Dolphins last week. And you see the view from Hayward in his linebacker spot. So 4th and 11, only 15 seconds left, and the Chiefs try to keep things alive. And there is Michael Bennett.
You see just the 3 linemen here. Everybody else is back. They're defending the touchdown, not the first down.
And the deep throw is going to be intercepted at the 32 by Brandon Anderson. And that'll do it. You talked at the top of the broadcast, John, about creating a winning culture, preseason or not, week 2 or not of the preseason, and even with the concerning injury to Josh Freeman. From the second to the third string, the Bucs battled on offense, on defense. Rudy Carpenter's throw to Terrence Nunn, the difference in this game to get the W.
I've been in these situations before, and when you haven't been a playoff team, you haven't been a team challenging for championships, these wins, albeit preseason, they're important. You need to learn how to win in this league, and they took a step towards that tonight.
And injuries on both sidelines. Chiefs and Bucs paid a price. But the fans who came out here at Raymond James were entertained and walk out with their team getting the win. Final score from Tampa Bay, Bucs 20, Chiefs 15.